My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, just so you can see again, the Ontario International Airport flying over my head again on the sidewalk. This is not coincidental targeting. It's a pattern of conduct of targeting, and it's also happening in the specific environment, just like you saw last night in the engineered light. Targeting where I'm also targeting in a manner where there's no arrivals or departures. This is not having anything to do with the operations of the airport that are legitimate or lawful. This is where the fake sun is located. Where the entity you already know is stalking, because this is why Ontario police are stalking at this same hotel at 9 o'clock in the morning when the fake sun is still here. And while the entity is still gang stalking at 12:51 p.m. while the fake sun is still over me here. And that airport is using commercial planes to fly over my head in this parking lot, flying south over me. This is why the entity is still gang stalking after 5 p.m. flying over me. At the mobile gas station targeting, flying over my room. At this venue targeting, flying over my head in the parking lot targeting, doing so in that specific environment, and they're targeting with the people. These are demons. An engineer light flies toward me, like you already know, as the demon-possessed pattern of conduct, while they're stalking as a population. And this is a population of terrorists who are exposing in federal court for prosecution of the United States government as to how they conspire murder and kidnapping American citizens as a government system. That's the connection of the demons that are targeting on the ground and the demons that are targeting in the sky space. And this is the criminal conduct that the Ontario police are acting fully complicit to. They are gang stalking as an entity as well, and they are all conspiring the death of an American citizen that they have tried to sacrifice as this satanic targeting system is exposed. And they're doing so pursuant to what is criminal conduct that Tracy Banks remains engaged in, while Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks have conspired together my death via gang stalking by the United States government that's targeting in the ways that I show. In the state of California, they are doing so in furtherance of an ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit murder by theft of my property. All right, and this is relevant to the entity that is going to federal prison. That includes Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. But Alan D. WAPNER is being removed from office for acting in furtherance of a conspiracy to commit murder while targeting me, engaging in terrorism with the people of the state, and using the planes and the city of Ontario. That's also using the police department, the Ontario police, who are targeting as well. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:19 a.m. and that synchronicity, that demonic synchronicity, the demons that are monitoring, and the entity that meets me right here on the sidewalk to fly over my head and then do a U-turn right here at the mobile. If you'll recall, as I documented days ago, the entity flies over the mobile gas station right here in between the two properties, targeting me and doing so. This is the entity that's engaged in that. This has a departure from the airport. This is straight targeting, and this is, again, solicited by Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, the U.S. government that is indeed engaged in targeting, and so is the city of Ontario. That's Impossible Light. Omnitrans is monitoring as well. That's Stalking with Light. This is P.O.C. under the fake sun that remains on one street. P.O.C. That's Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines is engaging in this conduct, and I want to be clear, that is engaging in what is satanic. This is the sacrifice. This is the entity that's engaging in the Ontario Police Department engaged in this conduct by flying in circles over my head. This is clear targeting under a fake sun that remains on this same street, Euclid Avenue, okay, where the sun is not going to remain in a natural environment. That's the entity that's engaging in that, okay? That's the pattern of conduct. It is 7:20 a.m. This is while Tracy Banks is remaining, and Jason Isaac Fields, that's the government, is remaining in custody of property that belongs to me, maintaining a secret conservatorship, maintaining a fraudulent marriage on paper, which the government is fully engaged in concert with the government that is also targeting me, engaging in gang stalking and furtherance of murder. They are going to federal prison, and the government that is engaged in targeting in the city of Ontario is a part of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, while I have proven how the government is targeting in concert with that entity. This is P.O.C. It's 7:21 a.m. at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. The fake sun's remaining over me at the Ontario Town Square as I'm documenting the Ontario police stalking me at that venue at 10 o'clock in the morning, where I go into the OVITT Family Community Library. 3 hours from now, the sun is not on one street still, and it's not over one person on one street. It's also not going to be in Florida in the natural environment, where the city of Ontario is showing that the population, the government, is engaged indeed in targeting, which is proven through an environment which is unique to where I'm at and everything that the government is doing, including terrorism and harassment using commercial planes. This is P.O.C. Delta Airlines is what you saw. UPS is what you saw. These are companies that are going to be prosecuted with regard to the federal RICO. They are illustrating what every business in the state of California is engaged in its criminal monitoring. P.O.C. 7GYY309, co-conspiring murder. So is Mango Trucking Company, license plate 4UN4567, molesting with impossible light, 6ZXR496, 8KVS481, 8GQN662, 5E37672, license plate 5SRE882, 9KSV241, 9GHM586, 9EOX678, and the Ontario Police sharing in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder as well, while the Ontario International Airport engages in what is targeting me, psychologically torturing and harassing and terrorizing, while you also know that they're engaged in monitoring my vagina, my genitalia, keeping me under surveillance in a sexually perverted and predatory manner as a government system, sharing in surveillance that the entity is engaging in furtherance of committing murder. The people of the state whose license plates I'm reciting are part of that population, and it includes Ontario Police, who are under the same fake sun that's remaining over me at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where Delta Airlines and UPS Airlines target me on the sidewalk using 2 commercial planes in less than 4 minutes, engaging in what are those documented acts of terrorism, and doing so in concert with the people of the state. They are conspiring murder together as an entity. License 8HFN549, 9EEY355, HCI System Incorporated is the company, 02746Y3. Both third parties operating and that company sharing in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. 8XXS840, 9NEA205, license plate 67748P2, license 7WGE014, and the fake sun moves as I move, in the same way that the Ontario International Airport, that is Alan D. Wapner, a co-conspirator to murder, as the government utilizes all of its resources, including the corrupt practices of an airport and the corrupt practices of those airlines, are engaging in sharing and targeting that Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields co-conspiring murder, and doing so in concert with the City of Ontario. This is the state of California that is gang stalking for that criminal purpose. And they are still acting in furtherance of that unlawful objective, while I document and I publish the evidence onto the internet as I remain subject to targeting by a whole population. The demons that are targeting me with impossible light activity, these are, again, the entity that is engaging in the conspiracy to commit murder, and they're doing so with regard to what is the intent to steal property, money and property that Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, the government, have already committed theft of, and they've also engaged in gang stalking and conspiracy to murder to get away with it, and also steal the rest of my property. This is what Alan D. Wapner, Delta Airlines, UPS, etc., are engaging in while they're engaging in targeting me using commercial planes, far away from and irreconcilable with what are the ordinary operations, operations that are expected and anticipated from arriving and departing from the Ontario International Airport, while they are targeting me on the sidewalk at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, the Mobile Gas, the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, license 7W18951, license 9NZM248, license 9NVK654. These are co-conspirators to murder. 7JXC331, 9FBX589, while they are gang stalking. And they're stalking with light, is exposing that conspiracy to commit murder. This is an entity that's engaging in what is public corruption, where American citizens are subject to loss of life. Their lives are taken while they're being targeted, and this is something that the government, which Jason Isaac Fields is a part of, and Tracy Banks, his sex partner, are still engaging in to date. That's why the entity is targeting the way that I'm documenting, and the government that's engaging in this is keeping the evidence under surveillance. So this is relevant to the prosecution of actors such as Alan D. Wapner, Paul Leon, Mike Lorenz, Michael GERKEN, who are targeting in the city of Ontario with this population. All right, it is currently, again, 7:34 a.m. This is the criminal conduct solicited by Tracy Banks, who is remaining in custody of property that does not belong to her, while putting a contract out on my life, which the city of Ontario is acting in furtherance of to date. This is P.O.C. Stalking at the gas station in furtherance of murder. This is another homosexual female focusing her attention on a gas tank while she is engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring to accomplish murder with the government. 68344E2, and I will show you the fake sun proving that. And she's also engaging in what is stalking with impossible light while she arrives at the facilitating venue, which is an unlawful threat and a terrorizing threat. This is P.O.C. It's 7:35 a.m. All right, license plate EP17960. Let me show you the demon stalking with these large trucks under the fake sun. All right, those are the license plates of the demons that go right up to the gas station, getting up diesel gas. That's a federal RICO case, EP17980, EP17960.
The fake sun is in perfect alignment with me while you are stalking in the path, filling up gas. That's a consumer. That's gang stalking with the government. All right, CENTOS is surrounding in the environment. CENTOS is gang stalking. I've documented them molesting with impossible light. They're not different. They're the same. Another brand name sharing in that criminal conspiracy to commit murder as a matter of public corruption with the government that showed you that they are targeting as the fire department, the airport, and the police department. License 7DL08. Let me read you that license plate. They're stalked with impossible light while they drive from gas pump number 6, which is where you'll see them stalking in the path right now at 2155 South Euclid Avenue at 7:38 a.m. Their license plate 7MLD198. This is an entity of demons. This is an entity of state actors. They're not private individuals. They're acting in furtherance of a contract to commit murder, and they're doing so while they're gang stalking. All right, so that's what I'm documenting. That's the significance of what I'm documenting. And moreover, you're looking at the evidence of demon possession. While they do things that are supernatural, this is the practice of witchcraft by those that put contracts out on the lives of American citizens. And this is what the government is engaged in. Ontario Police Department has been compensated to target me in furtherance of murder. 9EOZ890, the Ontario Fire Department, the same. The City of Ontario, Alan D. WAPNER, Paul Leon, the people of the state, these gang stalking demons that can't read, stalking in a library, these gang stalking third parties that are stalking on the roads and the highways. This is an entity that has been compensated. It's a large, substantial amount of money, which is why Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and the government has targeted me. And this is why the government is invested in it. They're not trying to steal just $10,000. They're not just trying to steal a little bit of change. The entity engaged in what is targeting me, and the Delta Airlines and UPS Airlines, the Ontario International Airport, Amazon Prime, okay, Ramada Inn by Wyndham, Economy Inn, the Ontario Police Department exhibit what is the entity that is interested in what is my death while they're targeting, kidnapping, criminally summoning the entity while they are being exposed as being part of what is a contract, an unlawful contract. A contract on my life, solicitation for death, which is the point of gang stalking. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison, and he is still engaging in what is an unlawful contract on my life while I'm documenting that pattern of conduct. The federal government is watching it while I remain subject to that. It's the criminal conduct of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and everybody else that they brought into court to defame my character, aid in what is a fake conservatorship and a fake marriage, which they used to steal from me. And the City of Ontario is acting in furtherance of that unlawful contract. And the public corruption that I'm exposing, Chevron gang stalking, the Driftwood Village Shopping Plaza gang stalking, U.S. Fuels gang stalking, demons coming up and filling up their gas tank at the gas station in the specific environment where you are aware that the entire city is targeting in furtherance of an unlawful contract to take my life in order to steal my property. This is what the government that is engaging in surveillance has committed and is still committing while I walk outside and at 7:17 a.m. on the sidewalk at a specific location where the sun is documented 12 hours later. That's the City of Ontario that's targeting. It's targeting using commercial planes, and the entity is engaging in that violence, that obvious method of targeting, because Delta Airlines is engaged in what is state organized crime of murder, because UPS is engaged in what is the state organized crime of murder as an entity, while public corruption is hereby being exposed. And this is the entity that's doing so because of money, property that belongs to me, that they remain in custody of, while I'm suffering ongoing harms that I'm also documenting. And this ongoing conspiracy to commit murder remains underway. Hatag Lloyd, that's a trucking company, 530-4409. That's a demon operating that vehicle, and they are acting in furtherance. There's no exception. They're acting in furtherance of this conspiracy to commit murder as a gang stalking entity. While they are stalking with impossible light, they're doing that at nightfall, where you saw the Ontario International Airport flying over my head on the sidewalk, okay, on this same street, by the way. And they're doing so pursuant to knowledge of who I am, knowledge of what it is that I'm doing, and also the sex offenders that sexually obsess over my genitalia while they're engaging in this perverted and demented criminal system. 6WRJ345, license plate 8LMV564. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:42 a.m. Alrighty, you will see license 8RXV318, an Asian male in custody of a minor child, acting in furtherance of the murder of another person. They're doing so in the specific environment. This is an environment that is conclusive evidence, and the custody of children is evidence of a threat that they pose to children, and the sex offense that they commit with children, and the conspiracy to murder which they engage in with children. This is public corruption. License 9JUR284, sharing in that, and so is third-party license plate 8EHW205, the homosexual that is engaged in what is stalking a woman, obsessing over her vagina, conspiring murder with the government, that relies on the public corruption, that is being placed at the establishment that is engaging in gang stalking. That's why the fake sun is over me at U.S. Fuels, which is a supernatural feature, which is proving that venue is engaged in targeting, where the government is engaging what is surveillance, as the people of the state are doing so in concert with the government, shown to be acting via the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario Police Department. The entities engaging in this with the City of Ontario, which is the municipality that's engaging in. They also represent the state, but with regard to the government directly, I am generally referring to that. The municipality is engaged in the pattern of conduct, as Paul Leon has demonstrated, as the pattern of conduct shows and proves. 8TQM450, 8NHU699, 7WHD238, 8XJX723, 4XIN317, 9GYY173. This is, again, millions of people that are contracted as a matter of public corruption to murder one person that they are targeting, and it is occurring in that specific environment, which is supernatural. The sun's not in Florida while it's remaining over U.S. Fuels on Euclid Avenue, and it remains on Euclid Avenue. That's why I capture it over my head at 215 E.C. Street, which is off of the same Euclid Avenue, in the middle of the afternoon, where homosexual women that are seeking after my blood, my bodily fluids, where demons that are gang stalking me pray to Satan over it while they're targeting in the physical, because these mentally ill demons surmise that they will achieve what is a murder unto Satan when they do so. This is witchcraft that Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields engage in as well, while they're engaging in conduct that is proven through tangible evidence, which is the evidence of targeting, the motivation of theft of money and property, having already engaged in theft, which is clear. It's property that doesn't belong to them, pursuant to mental illness that doesn't exist on my part, regarding evidence that was never disclosed to me, regarding what is clearly corrupt conduct by the court, and there is no reasonable question as to why I still remain dispossessed of my property, and I'm also remaining subject to this criminal conspiracy to murder me and steal it. This is the entity that is going to federal prison. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison for demons that are stalking by public corruption, by gang stalking. Being patron at U.S. Fuels is providing what is relevant positioning, light activity, and ongoing presence in the path, while these demons are pacing at intersections on this street pursuant to surveillance under a fake sun and amongst engineered light, where every single last one of them are stalking me with impossible light activity, which I've also proven to you is an existing fact. All right? License plate 9FZD568 89788L3, and license plate car full of demons, including under the age of majority, 9GVS904. All right, the gang stalking families in the city of Ontario are engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder. In fact, the pedophiles who are gang stalking are engaging in what is literally putting minor children on camera. You've seen them doing that under the fake sun, and then they'll walk out with a group of kids with them in hand. Those are demons that are gang stalking, and they do so with minor children. They also have sex with those same children that they put on camera for you to see their faces. 9RJA984. 9TKH021. These are pedophiles and these are murderers. These are serial killers. They engage in targeting as a way of life in California. License 9KTM070. License plate 9GLH386. And this is why Tracy Banks, a gang stalking mother, has conspired the murder of her own daughter while she is gang stalking me with the same people of the state. All right, this is P.O.C. This is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are sharing in, and they're going to federal prison for it. They remain engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder, while the entity is both gang stalking me and the entity that is Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and the government have failed, and I remain in dispossession of property that belongs to me. And there's nothing that gang stalking is going to aid in with regard to being in lawful possession or having ever lawfully maintained the secret of my property and also keeping my property. Not $1. You're going to federal prison for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:49 a.m. at 2155 South Euclid Avenue. P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, again, 7:51 a.m. The video that you listen to is video of ongoing violence committed by the government, specifically the official responsible and to be removed from office for conspiring murder by gang stalking, Alan D. Wapner, 9MHV735. And this is a prolonged, documented pattern of very specific targeting by the Ontario International Airport, 9FES720, 9LAV, I can't really see that one, 8SSO730, 8WNF224, 7LAA951, 8UUA288, K663EO, 9HEK927, 6VGP534, 9NDL968, 5RVA126, And the fake sun remains stationary over me at the intersection of Philadelphia and Euclid right now. This is also how you know that every single last third party and the rest of them, because these are just the demons that are driving by right here at the intersection, the fake sun doesn't remain in the window of their car. 7BBK124 is co-conspiring in murder. 5017-2L2 co-conspiring in murder. 8VGV834 9NSU123, I believe, or 128, can't really see that one. 9MTJ157 co-conspiring in murder, while the fake sun remains over me and showing how they are all targeting together. PROV27, LWPS1, 9LFT017, and it's not just the environment that proves that, it's they're stalking me with impossible light, meaning light like a laser shooting toward me while they are driving by under a fake sun. This is all of the evidence, comprehensive evidence, showing an unmistakable method of satanic evidence. It's satanic in character, excuse me. It is tangible evidence of the satanic character of targeting, and every single last one, millions of people, in other words, conspiring in what is a murder of an American citizen. The contract to commit murder is the evidence of gang stalking. License plate, and Tracy Banks and Jason Fields are going to federal prison for that ongoing contract that remains underway. 4SWS577, 9PWV779, 25266D4, molesting with impossible light. TAXYLDY, the tax lady, is conspiring murder. All right, she's a murderer if she's preparing your taxes. She's also a homosexual. She practices witchcraft and she's into murdering people for money, and she receives compensation for it. She does so with the government, so it doesn't go on her criminal record that she's a pedophile and that she's engaged in murdering people. What she refers to herself on her license plate as tax lady. License 8PDX492. R.A. Johnson Company Incorporated, 6841383. License 8RVM325. License plate JSBMAMA 9NFK544 9MSG272 7ZQU021 98855J3 ADDONAI 8VPU881. License plate gang stalking immigrants 9BXX289. All right, if so, that's deportation. License 6YJT418. 7FCH943, 7LJD075, 8AKJ923, 7NLZ439, 7RKJ309, 9KWJ017, 96775U3, 92538C2, that's Noble Construction. License 7RNY703. Molesting with impossible light activity. License plate. They all are, but this one comes close, turns into the driveway of the U.S. Fuels. License plate, EG09R65. I can't really see that one. That was a paper plate. License 7KTG161. And you're understanding and recognizing the inherent threat regarding a state that is millions of people that are acting in furtherance of committing murder. This is an entity that does so and then hides the details about it. This is why it's reported on the news as a suicide, as a disappearance. And the entity is engaging what is murder as an entity. 9RQP625 that targets that person until they take their life. License plate OLDFOOT. This is P.O.C. and the fake sun is remaining stationary, okay? The evidence of them all stalking, all monitoring together, all in sharing in psychological torture. License 7PGJ579 drives away. In the images that I'm capturing at 7:55, the fake sun sits stationary, and on aboard Omnitrans, they're all engaging in gang stalking as well, while that fake sun remains over me, the person whom they are all targeting in furtherance of murder. 90283W2. P.O.C. both that business and the demons driving that vehicle. License 9CYU377 with a minor child conspiring the murder of another woman, sexually violating her in doing so. License plate A. Perez Trucking, Impossible Light 1WC684. Can't really see that whole license plate. And Omnitrans, there's no sun in the window of that vehicle as it approaches me, Route 83 going north on Euclid Avenue, 1545682, but it remains in alignment to me while I'm aboard that bus, while everybody on that bus is also targeting in furtherance of murder. This is P.O.C. Hello. Good morning. Yeah. Sorry. All right, you're listening to Little Bites is molesting license 09-61484 while I'm boarding the bus, putting money in the machine. Targeted, very specific targeting, and that's not only by that demon driving that bus, which is a commercial means of engaging in what is public corruption. That is, every business is invested in what is murder of an American citizen. It is indeed public corruption, doing so by targeting with impossible light. That's the significance of the demonic pattern of conduct that I've shown you. Okay, Little Bites, excuse me, is a company that's engaging in that P.O.C. and they're sharing in that pattern of conduct, and the fake son is going to move as I move while they are engaging in that P.O.C. That is, again, that third-party business, Little Bites, that's engaging in what is the terrorism and psychological torture of stalking with light while they are keeping you under surveillance and furtherance of murder, taking your life. And Little Bites is engaged in that criminal conspiracy, and it is evidenced through the pattern of conduct of stalking me with impossible light activity under an impossible environment, speaking to nothing other than targeting in concert with the government that has conspired with Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields as a government system to murder me for money and property that belongs to me, that is going to remain with me, and I'm going to prosecute the government, and the entity that is targeting is going to be prosecuted. And it is the unprecedented prosecution exposing domestic terrorism in the United States. And as an aside, it is demonic activity. License 8RVM225 is stalking. So while they're driving by me on Philadelphia and Euclid and the fake son remains stationary, the fake son is now dynamic while they're gang stalking in the same manner, except the fake son is showing you that they are indeed targeting me specifically. There is no vague or ambiguous pattern of conduct. There is no paranoid schizophrenia. There's no hallucination. The entity is engaging what is targeting a specific person who they know who they are conspiring to murder. They know who it is, and they know what that person who they're conspiring to murder is, what they're doing. They're also obsessed with that person's genitalia. That third party's license plate and the business Little Bites are sharing in that pattern of conduct, and it's aboard while I am on, it is occurring aboard Omnitrends, the very heavily documented gang stalker for which Alan D. Wapner is also engaged in the corrupt business practices that share in the conspiracy to murder while this public corruption is exposed, and the business is used and engaged in monitoring that is targeting an American citizen and making money at the same time. It's currently 7:59 a.m. This is P.O.C. Going north of Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is remaining on Euclid Avenue still. Even at 7:17 a.m., the sun that rises in the east and sets in the west, as we've heard so common, the fake sun remains on Euclid Avenue, which runs north and south, and it's remaining on what is the west side of my person on one street in alignment to me. License 9PJ0768 is stalking me in that remarkable environment that is readily identifiable, and so is their criminal engagement in conspiring to murder an American citizen, all right? And they are also mentally ill while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct with the government. This mental illness is psychopathic while they seek to profit off of the demise of an American citizen, a corrupt system in operation in doing so, all right? It's 8 a.m. at what is Euclid Avenue and, what is that? Euclid Avenue and Francis Street, where I'm documenting that third party, P.O.C. All right, Omnitrends engaging in what is a signature move for sexual violence as a corrupt business, molesting with impossible light. It's not even the sun that's remaining in the window of this venue, very clearly identified, and it's a basis for a prosecution for the demon that's operating the vehicle and the prosecution of that business itself, which is conspiring murder. Not just engaging in demonic conduct, not just engaging in psychological torture and harassment and terrorism, but sharing in the conspiracy to commit murder in doing so. And they're doing so while they are molesting with impossible light. And there's a body of evidence of Omnitrends targeting in this manner under what is a whole fake sun. This is mental illness underway while a demon that is threatening the life of other American citizens is operating public transportation. This is the threat inherent where demons are also flying commercial planes and sacrificing other American citizens, all right? This is the reality of the threat of the mentally ill that are engaging in this conduct. It's 8:01 a.m. P.O.C. That's some possible light activity. This is targeting. You're also looking at this is crossing path light activity. The fake sun is covered up, but it is the fake sun as well. It has nothing to do with the fake sun that's stalking with light. It's demonic. These are all demons. Crossing path light activity, and light travels flying in the air, just like I'm documenting inside of my hotel room. And here's the fake sun, the evidence of stalking with impossible light. This is P.O.C. All right, that's terrorism. This is all impossible light activity on the floor.
This is not sunlight, nor is it the sun, and nor is sunlight going to fly in the air on the bus. This is all means of psychological torture while you're being targeted, and it's occurring at Francis Street and Euclid Avenue at 8:02 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the Ontario Town Square. The entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. The entity is maintaining the fake sun over also Euclid Avenue, the Economy Inn, where I'm documenting the fake sun over my hotel room from sunrise until sunset. Not only is this stalking and proven targeting in the environment, it's also relevant to the entity that has the inexplicable light that's never the product of sunlight. And this is a business that's sharing in public corruption, sexual violence, psychological torture, committed in furtherance of murder. Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks in particular, who remain in possession of property that belongs to me, maintaining a fraudulent marriage, maintaining a fraudulent secret conservatorship, while conspiring with the government that targets American citizens for money. That's what the city of Ontario is engaging in, and Omnitrans is engaging in that in concert with the people of the state. All right, doing so, targeting and engaging in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. And the fake sun is moving as I move. This is not over 224 North Euclid Avenue. This is not at the OVITT Family Community Library, nor is it going to be in a natural environment. All right, it's not over Tracy Banks' apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments. It's not remaining over Economy Inn, and it's not in Florida. And it is also not going to cause what is light flying through the air, targeting me, the ongoing documented harm suffered while psychopaths are stalking and monitoring you. This is P.O.C. It's 8:03 a.m. This is Euclid Avenue and Belmont. The entity that is targeting, this is Paul Leon's fake church. He's a fake pastor. He's a demon. He's also sitting in the position of mayor. He's being removed from office while he is targeting as a official in the city of Ontario with the population. He's a part of the same community. He's a part of the same public corruption. And his office at 303 East B Street, beyond the city hall, is where the fake sun is remaining for over 12 hours as well, on the same street, by the way. This is P.O.C. It's 8:04 a.m. All right, this entity, again, Omnitrans, engaging in a sexual molestation at what is 731 South Euclid Avenue, I believe. Euclid Avenue, every time he's stopping, the entity engaging in what is accosting with impossible light. And this is the pattern of conduct. As you document that supernatural occurrence, the entity engages in more of it. That's relevant to the mental illness. And these are demons speaking all languages. Gang stalking immigrants are being deported. They're also engaging with the shared impunity of, as I document the pattern of conduct, psychopaths engage in more infliction of harms. This is occurring under the business. This is occurring as an entity. It's occurring under every defendant that's on the bus as you're documenting that. And this is shared by the entity under a moving fake sun. But while I'm at the gas station reading their license plates, that fake sun remains over me. This is understanding millions of people targeting one person together, including businesses like Omnitrans, okay? Engaging in what is that obsession with touching me? That's the sex offender personified. That's a sex offender that's acting with regard to obsession over my genitalia. So this is what's occurring while I'm on the bus, and the sex offenders are obsessing by touching with light that's not even naturally occurring. It's not happening naturally when you're opening and closing doors. It's not happening naturally when a fake sun remains over me on that bus. The entity is engaging in what is that ongoing pattern of which is revealing not only surveillance but also mental illness shared by an entity that is indeed targeting, and they're targeting in furtherance of what is committing murder at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue right now. Omnitrans is engaged in federal stalking under Title 18 as well, P.O.C. All right, while a third party, again, walks to the front entrance of the bus, the entity is engaging in what is impossible light on the inside of the bus. That's combining the elements of presence and path chit-chatting with the bus driver. They're monitoring with impossible light, okay? That's the entity that's monitoring me in particular while doing so. This is the African-American, which is a third-party defendant, but this is a demon. And they're engaging in demonic activity together, targeting, while also Omnitrans has a Wi-Fi network. Let me document that. They're monitoring on the venue of the internet. It's Omnitrans free Wi-Fi bus. They're engaged in Title 18 federal stalking. All right, and they're doing so with the evidence of the fake sun, with the evidence of the impossible light. That's evidence of Title 18 stalking. The entity is doing so in furtherance of murder. That's what you're understanding. All right, it's a federal RICO case because of the corrupt business. It's a federal RICO case because of the Title 18 federal stalking. It's a federal RICO case because of the conspiracy to commit murder while you're targeting. All right, and it is the entity that does so with impunity. It is it's 8:07 a.m. At 150 East Holt Boulevard. The entity has the fake sun over me while I'm getting off of this bus. Getting off of the bus, the Route 61, in the afternoon, 11 a.m. All right, so Euclid Avenue. Let me show you the demon that is monitoring, engaging in what is targeting, molesting with impossible light.
The rubber-bound doors, I've documented this tons of times. You're gonna look at the venue. There's no light that's flying through the walkway of the bus. The entity is targeting, and that's demonic. The fake sun as I get off, and again, that's license plate 1545682, bus 23343. That is the same City of Ontario gang stalking. Omnitrans is San Bernardino County. It's a state actor, and it's also documented as I document a state facilitating venue where the fake sun remains over me on the roads and the highways, where a population and all the buses are acting pursuant to that P.O.C. That's why when I get on 83 route north going toward Upland, California, and going southbound, going toward Chino, California. I've already documented it. The fake sun engages in the same exact conduct, remaining in the window over me. It's the same thing with Route 66, going east and west, going toward Montclair and going toward Fontana. Regardless of what route or time of day, the fake sun remains in the window in alignment to me. Route 61, going eastbound toward Fontana, going westbound toward Pomona. Documented the entity keeping the fake sun through the window in alignment to me. This is the entity that's doing the same thing with regard to Route 87, all bus routes with regard to targeting me, evident of the population that is engaging in what is targeting. And they're targeting in furtherance of murder. All right, they're doing so while the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. So let me show you the entity that is targeting now. The fake sun is now at the Ontario Town Square, where plane activity under the fake sun, Southwest Airlines is hovering. That's not a arrival or a departure from the airport. All right, so you're flying miles away from the airport to then hover over the corner. That's amplified plane activity. That's audible activity. Light activity is underway and ongoing presence while Southwest Airlines is sharing in a conspiracy to commit murder under a fake sun. This is the B Street. So this is what the Ontario Police Department is doing after 6 p.m. on after leaving the OVITT Family Community Library. The sun would not be present at this same venue 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours later. I'm walking right here, and the Ontario Police are stalking by helicopter at the same intersection and doing so with the people of the state that are gang stalking, while the fake sun remains over me through the window of the Omnitrans coming on the same street, Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking by flying over my head, UPS and Delta Airlines at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, one street where the fake sun is remaining. As the City of Ontario, Ontario Police, and the Ontario International Airport, that's Mike LORENZ and Alan D. WAPNER, acting in furtherance of a conspiracy to commit murder while they are gang stalking. It is the evidence of a contract to engage in what is a lawful life. Montclair School District 1680126, that's a pedophile driving a school bus. This is a population of people and the businesses that are engaged in public corruption, and they're stalking intentionally with knowledge at a documented location where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me at 8 in the morning, over me at 6 o'clock in the evening. Walmart, Brink, sharing in that P.O.C., okay? These are businesses that are engaging in that public corruption. This is stalking in the path of light. These are demons that are obsessed with my vagina, consuming my bodily fluids, stalking in bathrooms, engaging what is surveillance in hotel rooms. It's not traffic, but this is surveillance. That's not light, sunlight. That's surveillance, okay? That's somebody that is stalking 8RLU416, conspiring murder. P.O.C. while they're gang stalking. Tracy Banks and Jason Fields are going to federal prison. Southwest Airlines is conspiring murder while they are gang stalking. Criminal surveillance committed in furtherance of murder in order to steal property that this entity has already stolen. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:11 a.m. at 200 North Euclid Avenue, where the sun is moving in alignment to me, where the Ontario Police are stalking, and at that intersection, after 6 o'clock in the evening, the same population of demons are stalking with impossible light while the sun is not the natural environment. It's an indicator regarding who is being targeted, and that is myself, while the government has stolen from me in concert with Tracy Banks and Jason Fields, and the government is still remaining in what is unlawful possession of property that belongs to me while I am exposing it. It's already proven on the venue of the internet, and the entity is engaged in ongoing criminal monitoring in furtherance of what is murder. This is P.O.C. This is public corruption, and this is the government that has a contract out on the life of an American citizen whom it is targeting. And the Ontario Police is being disbanded for conspiring murder and doing so through the corrupt practices of a corrupt law enforcement agency, P.O.C. Alrighty, I'm showing you the fake sun that's at the same intersection like I documented at B Street in Euclid, where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking as the City of Ontario, in the same way that the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking. And I will connect those videos for you on YouTube to remind you about what it is that I'm referring to, as I'm documenting this on a daily basis, but giving ongoing illustration. This is the entity that's already been prosecuted on the world stage, and the entity is remaining in custody. This is the government that is via Tracy Banks, via Jason Fields, via the government that is engaged in what is targeted targeting me, and Jason Fields is engaging in this. Tracy Banks is engaging in this as a means of trying to force something that's not going to happen. Jason Fields is going to federal prison, and he will never be in my presence. This is someone who is still, by the way, engaging in what is the practice of witchcraft. This is relevant to his severe mental illness. This is someone who is going to be subject to what are restraints. Were he to ever engage in that psychotic act of being in my presence under any circumstances. And the federal government that's permitting this ongoing targeting is the same federal government that's going to be prosecuted for it. All right. And I mean prosecuted meaning you're going to federal prison for what is, first of all, a contract by the government to commit murder. That's why the government is targeting. And the government is targeting through the Ontario International Airport, through Alan D. Wapner, through the Ontario Police Department, through Mike LORENZ, through the Ontario Fire Department, Michael GERKEN, through American Medical Response, the gang stalking demons that operate ambulances as a means of criminal surveillance to keep me under surveillance until this entity commits murder, because they are invested in stealing a lot of money and a lot of property that remains in my name. It belongs to me, and the government has engaged in corruption. The government has engaged in theft, but that does not change the reality, and this is documentation proving that, and the entity that engaged in that thought that they could bully me out of it, and doing so obviously. So you're stalking obviously as a police department, and this is relevant to the conspiracy to murder me. That provision of that evidence does not make it your property, and you're also not going to be successful in a courtroom where the entity is that there's not going to be any murder outside, but I'm going to prosecute because the entity acted in furtherance of murder. And the entity has also shown, the entity includes the demons stalking me day and night in helicopters, stalking in that terrorizing manner, stalking with commercial planes, stalking in that terrorizing manner, doing so while they are keeping the evidence under surveillance. That's also relevant to stalking in a terrorizing manner, as though you're just going to commit murder, regardless of the fact that it's proven that you're targeting. It's not a secret anymore. That level of impunity, you're going to prosecute for that. Tracy Banks and Jason Fields in particular at the top of the list. Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, Carrie Heberlin, Ariana Lopez, the entity that is targeting me by defaming my character, while I am single-handedly proving that the government has stolen from me and sought to defame my character, with a population, millions of people who are in on a contract to commit murder. This is the entity that is subject to federal prison, and it does not change the reality. The entity engages in corruption to form reality in its favor. I have shown you what the truth is, and I've also proven it with evidence. And by the way, it does not actually change the facts and the reality. And the reality is that I'm going to prosecute for the level of corruption that this government has openly exhibited, because not only did I prove it, then they're engaging in what is gang stalking in the face of being proven to be engaged in the allegations that I put forth and then proved through evidence of that. The entity that is, in other words, stalking for 20 minutes using a helicopter, targeting me in that specific environment. And they're also clearly targeting, even if the fake sun was covered up and you didn't know anything about it, they're flying over in circles over me for 20 minutes. That's on its face targeting. They're also proven to be targeting in this specific environment. They're also proven to be targeting me with regard to the body of evidence that I have that ongoing occurrence on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a routine basis, not just by the Ontario Police Department. This is that which the entity has committed in furtherance of murder and theft from me. While they're engaged in very specific means, the same supernatural character of the pattern of conduct is the direct evidence, the irreducible evidence of you're not targeting anybody else but me. It couldn't be anybody else but me. You're even going to the demonic links of stalking with what is impossible light activity, and it proves that you're targeting me. And the entity is targeting in furtherance of murder. That's why Southwest Airlines is what you are witnessing, stalking as a whole government operation, so that Tracy Banks and Jason Fields and everybody else can share in stealing a lot of money and property, which they're not getting away with. And I'm also showing you the link to which a corrupt government goes when they are invested in stealing not only the identity, but stealing that which belongs to an American citizen, which is what I've proven. This is what Tracy Banks and Jason Fields remains engaged in to date, while the city of Ontario is still acting in furtherance of achieving an objective. So they're still stalking, they're still monitoring and psychologically torturing, they're still sexually violating and harassing with the mindset that they're going to achieve an end, that they're going to achieve what they bargained for. What was the bargain? My life in exchange for money and property. The entity is going to be prosecuted for that. And the government that is engaging in this contract on the life of an American citizen, that is requiring what is federal prison. It's not enough to be removed from office. They're conspiring murder. And it's very detailed regarding Paul Leon's involvement. It's very detailed regarding Michael Lorenz's involvement. It's very detailed regarding what is Alan D. Wapner's involvement, okay? The entity is engaging in that, and they're doing so pursuant to what is knowledge of who I am and everything that I'm doing, and it includes documentation. Documentation of how every level of government is targeting me with a population who is engaging in a very specific pattern of conduct of targeting me in particular, and they're doing so pursuant to knowledge that is being published, and they are still targeting. That's relevant to what is a bloodthirsty co-conspirator to murder. All right, somebody that is relentless, but that somebody is millions of people who are gang stalking. Okay, this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted for that. This is what is putting Tracy Banks, Jason Fields, and all the others that are, again, sitting in court, a court that's engaging in criminal activity. It doesn't change it. So I'm exposing what is corruption. So the government that's accustomed to engaging in this and getting away with it, they engage in corruption, and that gets them the results that they want, and that's not happening. I'm going to show you what is the reality, and then the corrupt practices that they engage in and how they are oppressing and stealing from and even murdering American citizens. And because you engage in corruption, that's not going to get you what you want. Because you are corrupt and you state that it's X, Y, and Z, that doesn't mean that it's true. I've proven all of that, and I'm going to prosecute for this corruption. Public corruption that is committed in furtherance of murder and theft. It is particularly despicable what the state of California, what the U.S. government is engaging in. And the U.S. government is doing it while it is in real time witnessing it's being exposed on a day-to-day basis. The entity is stalking under a fake sun that was not already over the Ontario town square like it is when I'm arriving. What is the light source that's adjacent to the Metro 102 apartments when I'm here already at 6:45 in the morning at 7 a.m. and UPS and Southwest Airlines and United Airlines are openly exposing the fact that they're engaging in sacrificing American citizens by flying over that apartment where you would never be engaging in that conduct when you're taken off from the airport. And they did so not only once, but they did so through a series of videos for a prolonged period while that fake sun was already present at the Ontario Town Square area. The entity kept the fake sun where I'm located on the same street, however, speaking to targeting. Not just on the same street, but it remains on the same street as I'm at this same venue, like I documented August 17, 2025 at 6:50 p.m. It's at the same Euclid Avenue where a population is on video and is documented via podcast. Unmistakable direct evidence regarding the mental illness of the entity, the government, the people of the state, Tracy Banks and Jason Fields, who have defamed my character because they are actually psychopaths and they are actually mentally ill, and so are the gang stalking police officers that engaged in kidnapping throughout the years. In furtherance of this long-term investment in what is my death, they're going to federal prison for that, and they are actually mentally ill. When I document things such as my shadow coming from behind my person when I'm walking inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, that is evidence that it's proven in video documentation. The entity engages in conduct that's supposed to sound absurdly crazy, and it does sound crazy, and guess whose mental illness is being exposed as you document and prove it? The entity that is gang stalking you. The entity that is stalking you as a whole government operation. The entity that is stalking you and relying on the public corruption of that entity, such as Tracy Banks. Her mental illness is the one that's put in controversy while you're being gang stalked with impossible light activity under a fake sun, and millions of people are sharing in that. Millions of people who are demon possessed, and you need to understand that. This is demon possession. This is why you have so many people engaging in an identical behavioral pattern in a specific environment. All of that is beyond what any one person could make up. I could never make up that body of evidence. My lies would have fell apart a long time ago. But whose lies have fallen apart? The entity that's gang stalking me, the entity that has no authority under the law whatsoever, and in their alternate universe, and also in reality, based on the exposure of this corruption, the entity has no authority to even be at the locations where they're at. Wells Fargo doesn't have a right to be. You can't move the building, and the building isn't the one that's engaging in surveillance. The entity is engaging in what is surveillance while the demons are maintaining presence using buildings such as Wells Fargo. In Wells Fargo, there is no warrant or probable cause to be there, and I will prosecute. That's understanding the corruption of the entirety of that system. And the entity is engaging when, I got to go and do I'm going to go use the ATM, and that's why I'm stalking in the path with the government in furtherance of murder. I'm going to work at Wells Fargo because my shift starts at 9 a.m., and that's their entity's excuse for engaging in what is stalking in the path in furtherance of murder pursuant to that entity's pattern of conduct on behalf of the government. And you're going to be prosecuted for that. And this is what the state of California is engaging in while a fake sun is evident, while engineer light is evident, and who is stalking in the environment? Southwest Airlines, UPS, that's relevant to the people of the state. That's government action, the Ontario International Airport. That's Alan D. Wapner. That's the president of the Airport Authority. That's the Ontario City Council, Paul Leon. That's Mike LORENZ, Michael GERKEN. That's the city of Ontario. That's the municipality. That's the state of California. This is what Gavin Newsom is engaging in California. And this demon wants to be the president. All right? He wants to challenge Donald Trump for the seat of presidency. This is a demon. And this is somebody that is corrupt. He's engaged in gang stalking. Every gang stalking mayor, which Paul Leon lets you know what they're doing. Paul Leon is exposed to you what the gang stalking mayors throughout California are engaging in. And Gavin Newsom is very much engaged in it and aware of it. Okay? He places gang stalking demons in judgeships. He is engaging what is placing the gang stalkers in positions of head of the California Highway Patrol. The California Highway Patrol is engaged in criminal monitoring. Gavin Newsom is not ignorant. Gavin Newsom is a part of the same state of California that's targeting. Gavin Newsom is responsible and is criminally engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder as a statewide pattern of conduct. This is public corruption that's happening in his name, under his watch. And he is not ignorant about it. This is how you have the corruption that Paul Leon is responsible for, and he's being removed from office. And this is what the entities engage in. Public officials and celebrities in the state of California targeting me, knowing who I am, knowing what it is that I'm exposing about them as an entity. You pick a celebrity, pick anyone, put their name, you think of their name, they live in California, they're engaged in gang stalking Erica Lorraine Spencer. All right, they're practicing the satanic system. They're engaging in it as an entity. All right, and they're doing so pursuant to real-time knowledge of everything that I expose about them. And the entity, it doesn't matter how much money that they have or whoever they think they are in Satan, you're nobody, and I'm going to prosecute you. And any theft of my intellectual property, this is also what the entity is engaging in and invested in, stealing my intellectual property. This is what Jason Fields and Tracy Banks have also engaged in. This is what YouTube is engaged in. And I'm going to prosecute for that. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and the entity that's doing so at Wells Fargo, the entity that's engaged in landscaping. It's all unlawful presence, no warrant, no probable cause, and furtherance of the elements of monitoring. This is P.O.C. This is also harassment because the entity is engaged in this conduct while they're monitoring and also throwing around debris because of the truth that I'm speaking. Gang stalking immigrants are being deported as well. All right, this is why Newsom, by the way, welcomes immigrants. They're sharing in criminal monitoring. He makes money off of them while they conspire murder against American citizens. The gang-stalking immigrants, Trump is doing very well to have them deported out of this country. They are sharing in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture, and they do so with impunity that I'm documenting on a daily basis. Okay, they have a complete disregard for the Constitution and the rights of American citizens. That's because the government, the state of California, has a complete disregard for the rights of American citizens and the Constitution. Contrary to what Gavin Newsom wants you to think, contrary to what Gavin Newsom thinks that he is depicting and representing and revealing on the world stage, he's revealing to you what a hypocrite looks like and speaks like. He's under the fake sun giving you speeches. So you look at the fake sun that's over me because he is monitoring me. And he is monitoring the progress of the state. And he is going to be exposed for what is this ongoing contract to commit murder while this public corruption is exposed in the state of California. All right, this is P.O.C. I'm going to show you landscaping, which is the means of monitoring by a demon that is worthy of what is deportation, if not a natural-born citizen, under the fake sun that arrived at Ontario Town Square at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where it's remaining present, where demons that are landscaping at 6 p.m. in the evening are engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. The corrupt business practices of Brightview, the corrupt business practices of the city of Ontario, while demons are engaging in what is monitoring. All right, so you have gang stalking immigrants that are in this country. They can't even speak English, and they're targeting with the mayor. They're targeting with the governor. They're targeting with the police. They're targeting with the sheriff. They're targeting with the local government body. They're targeting with American citizens who are homegrown terrorists, and they're doing so in furtherance of murder and theft. This is what immigrants are in this country engaging in. They're going to be deported. All right, this is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct and that level of impunity, the disregard and the rights of American citizens. This is relevant to what is that deportation policy. And the Department of Homeland Security, you are witnessing what is the justice, what is the due service that you're providing right now. Regardless, the people that are hostile to your presence in California, they're demon-possessed gang stalkers. And that's why they don't welcome your presence. The Department of Homeland Security is doing exactly what you should be doing. You are doing the Lord's will. I want to let you know that. Regardless of the way in which you're doing it, I'm not here to litigate that, but you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. And the gang stalking immigrants that are opposing the Department of Homeland Security, that are deporting immigrants, that are moreover engaged in criminal conduct, what you need to know is that every immigrant in California is subject to deportation because they're all gang stalking. And that's also the benefit of the P.O.C. They're all engaged in criminal activity. Every single last one in the state of California is engaged in domestic terrorism. And this is what criminal conduct that the government has solicited the immigrant population to engage in. This is what the government is compensating through the provision of the welfare state, supporting gang stalking immigrants who act with complete disregard for the Constitution, for the English language, for actually assimilating into California, into American society. American society is engaged in what is corruption. And that's why they're perfectly comfortable here. And the entity that is opposing the Department of Homeland Security's deportation, they're criminals that are engaging in terrorism, and deport every single last one of them. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and Gavin Newsom is responsible for it. Paul Leon is responsible for it. Karen Bass is responsible for it. All right, the entity that's engaging all the gang stalking mayors, as I go from city to city, and you're looking at them gang stalk me, the entity is keeping the fake sun in Hesperia, California today, and the mayor in Hesperia, California is engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. While Southwest Airlines and the Ontario Police Department are showing you what is targeting as it looks like, what targeting looks like in an environment where a population is sharing that targeting system, and they have all contracted on the put a contract on the life of an American citizen, and they all worship the genitalia of that American citizen while they're demons, no longer secretly engaging in any sort of witchcraft or any sort of satanic means of sacrificing. The conspiracy to murder is public information now, and the entity has put a contract on the life of an American citizen who is exposing it, and I remain in dispossession of property that belongs to me, and I proved it a long time ago, and I'm also going to get justice for that as well. It is currently 8:28 a.m. You have an entity that is targeting corrupt businesses like Brightview. They hire immigrants to engage in criminal activity, because that's what Brightview is. Brightview is an enemy of the United States, and so is this the entity that is gang stalking. Understand the principles of the United States, the principles of freedom, that the gang stalking entity is directly hostile to. While they're targeting, not only am I upholding those principles and exposing them and reminding you about them, the entity is hostile while I repeat them, and I show how they are in direct contravention of them, how they are hostile to them. Who is that? Also including the domestic terrorists of the Ontario Police Department, the enemy of American people, the enemy of the Constitution, who murder people and who target American citizens, which is what I am vocalizing, and that's why they are being disbanded. Okay, it is currently 8:29 a.m. and it doesn't get any further with regard, or any worse with regard to the betrayal of American principles when you target an American citizen with an immigrant, because that's what the Ontario Police Department are doing. This is P.O.C. That's criminal summoning under the fake sun. So let me show you the fake sun where the Michael GERKEN is acting in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder, where the Ontario Fire Department inside of the same plaza where the fake sun remains. This is what they're doing in the middle of the night on Euclid Avenue while I'm uploading evidence onto the venue of the internet. And they're doing so with immigrants. Michael GERKEN is also an enemy of the United States. They're engaging in surveillance, not firefighting. They're engaged in what is summoning while they are engaged in absolutely mentally depraved conduct and corrupt conduct under a fake sun. That's speaking to the mental illness of Michael GERKEN. That's speaking to the corruption of the entity that is under an environment that is not in alignment to Starbucks, where the Ontario Fire Department engages in what is targeting me as a routine, while corrupt businesses like Starbucks, who are also hostile to the American way with regard to freedom and privacy and a constitution. Pay attention, the entity stopped sounding sirens the moment that they drove by me. But you also know that they're targeting because the fake sun is over me while the Ontario Fire Department is stalking in the path. Mental illness and being a firefighter are two conflicting ideas that is going to be dealt with regard to Michael GERKEN's contract on my life, targeting me in furtherance of murder. All right, that's relevant to the gang stalking underway by the Ontario Fire Department and the facilitation of gang stalking by the Ontario Fire Department, where a bunch of demons are pacing while they manifest light activity and amplified audible activity, sirens and lights, and a fire truck. Doing so with gang stalking immigrants who are worthy of deportation, and that's exactly what the Department of Homeland Security should continue engaging in. The entire state of California is full of domestic terrorists, and they are a part of the immigrant population who are worthy of deportation. They're only contrary in opposition to it because they are accustomed to criminal activity. They're accustomed to corruption. They were introduced to this country under those unfortunate circumstances, which is the incompetence of and the criminal and corruption of Gavin Newsom. Okay, it is currently 8:31 a.m. What Paul Leon is engaging in for over 20 years, Gavin Newsom is not ignorant about. Gavin Newsom is a part of the criminal conduct of all the gang stalking mayors throughout the state of California who practice a satanic means of murdering people. And the entity does it through satanic means because they think that no one's ever going to see them, but while they practice witchcraft, while they practice gang stalking, which is an entire practice of Satanism, demonic conduct, demonic behavior, which is accomplishing what is psychological torture while you're being spiritually attacked, and you're also being physically attacked while planes and helicopters are stalking you in a manner that demons thought beforehand nobody would be able to recognize. They're fools in doing so. And so is the Ontario Fire Department sharing in that satanic ritual in order to murder someone, not to engage in firefighting. the mentally ill are being removed from these industries. All right, it's currently 8:32 a.m. Remember, while CAL FIRE is gang stalking me at the 9750 Key Point Hesperia Holiday Inn, the Ontario Fire Department is exposing evidence that CAL FIRE is engaged in a conspiracy to commit murder and not actually engaged in anything legitimate or remotely close to actually firefighting. The entity engages in what is arson and then goes and summons itself to put the fire out. They do so under a fake sun. These are demons that also request money from the federal government in order to keep themselves employed. They put themselves on the news while they're engaging in putting out fires under a fake sun. CAL FIRE's criminal engagement in targeting me at the Holiday Inn in Hesperia under the fake sun. I'm present in September of 2024. The entity is keeping the fake sun while the Ontario Fire Department is presenting evidence against that entity, and the entity CAL FIRE, the city of Hesperia, is presenting evidence against the same entity in 2025, the same year, while the demon-possessed who are in firefighting, engaged in the same system of surveillance, are engaging in the same criminal pattern of conduct and furtherance of murder. Okay, this is a long-term investment by the state of California, by the U.S. government, and I have years of evidence of the entity conspiring against my life as a government population. Every police department, every fire department, every sheriff's department, engaging in every municipality, every mayor's office, every local government body. It is a statewide P.O.C, and the entity is showing, even by field and industry, that they are engaging in targeting me very specific. And the Ontario Fire Department and the CAL FIRE and San Bernardino County Fire are showing how they are targeting me together in furtherance of murder. It is proven in the body of evidence, and it's also exposing mental illness by those that are unfit to be in that field in the first place. And their corrupt system of surveillance is showing you what they're doing, the nonsense and the waste of money and the joke that they make with regard to the operation of government in California when they are literally the ones that are creating fires. They're claiming that it's because of the climate, and they're under a fake sun putting out these fires that they are causing. These are the demon-possessed, and these are the corrupt and ridiculous acts of the demon-possessed that are engaging in this corrupt system in California, making a mockery out of those who would be engaged in what are saving the lives of those when they're not the product of arson, when they're not the product of witchcraft, when they're not the product of being under a whole fake sun and wanting to claim that it's the climate that's responsible for it. The fake sun that's in what is San Luis Obispo, what is remaining over me at the Ontario Town Square is not responsible for it. That's not the climate. That's the entity that's engaging in this nonsense, while the Ontario Fire Department are showing you that they're demons sharing in a corrupt system where they are keeping themselves employed, and they're also engaged in the contract with regard to murdering an American citizen as a City of Ontario operation. P.O.C. All right, what you will see and what I'm going to continue to document is not only is the entity proven to be targeting and furtherance of murder, which is the government that's engaging in this. The government is engaged in other words, murdering American citizens as a public as a matter of public corruption, and this is exposing that ongoing system that I am not the first one to I am the first one to expose it. I'm the first one that the entity has been unsuccessful in doing so. And Southwest Airlines, you will see what is currently, it's 8:49 a.m. They are stalking as I move. That's literally following while they maintain the path of airplanes where I'm located, and you will see where I'm located is where the fake sun is also stalking. This is where Wells Fargo is stalking. This is where Mule Cart Smokehouse is stalking. This is where Heredera de Oro is stalking. This is where the Ontario City Hall, Paul Leon is stalking. This is where Michael GERKEN, the Ontario Fire Department, is stalking. This is where the 280 North Limit Apartments, an entire complex, is stalking. This is where the people that stayed on the roads and the highways, they're stalking. This is where the Ontario Town Square, where I'm located, and the fake sun is hovering, and it remains here because they are engaged in surveillance. That's why it's here as I'm documenting in the evening. The entity is stalking, and Southwest Airlines, not only am I proving that the entity is stalking in furtherance of murder, this is a government operation. This is a government and public officials who have conspired my murder while committing to and investing in keeping me under surveillance in order to defame my character so that they can get away with murder and depict me as crazy in doing so. This is the malice behind gang stalking by actual psychopaths who are the demon possessed. And they are doing so through all the corrupt businesses that you are witnessing that are responsible for sacrificing American citizens. Companies like Southwest Airlines. Okay, companies like UPS that are delivering mail to you. Companies like, what is that flying over my head, which is UPS and Delta Airlines, okay? Engaging in what is flying into a helicopter. I believe it was Delta Airlines. That was not an accident. Delta Airlines is not accidentally targeting me. Delta Airlines is engaged in a pattern, and they do so deliberately. That was a sacrifice with regard to, I believe that was Delta Airlines. Whatever airlines it was, though, I want to let you know with regard to the flight, I believe it was in Virginia, New York, flying into the helicopter, then they're maintaining a hearing about it. That was not an accident. That what you witnessed an act of terrorism. And in the United States, they deal with terrorism. They deal with what are sacrifices, children that go disappearing, come up gone, they disappear, and they have so-called suspects about who this is the entity that engages in having sex with children and murdering them. They're sacrifices, and it's the government that's engaging in it. They offer them up to Satan, and then these psychopaths conduct investigations about that which they already know happened to keep themselves employed. It's like setting the fire as the fire department, claiming it's the climate when you're under the fake sun, putting the fires out, putting yourselves on the news to give yourself some sort of a public acknowledgement. If that's what the entity is doing with regard to criminal conduct that it commits itself. This is the entity that is gang stalking me, okay? Southwest Airlines is doing so pursuant, remember, not only proving it, but proving that the co-conspirator to murder the government and the entity, the people includes Tracy Banks. And everybody defaming my character. Secret conservatorship, fraudulent marriage to steal property. The government invested in stealing it, and while it's been targeting me for years, the entity is keeping the evidence. This is the murderer, the stalker that knows that it's being documented and exposed and is still engaging in that. And this is going under the name of businesses to be prosecuted in federal courts, such as Southwest Airlines. The fake sun is over me at 224 North Euclid Avenue. And first of all, that was the fake sun that they're stalking me with, the Alan D. Wapner that's targeting me at 7:17 a.m. I'm on the same street at 8:50 to 8:49 a.m. when this is occurring. The sun's not going anywhere. It's on the west side of my person, and it remains on the same street on the east side of my person. That is where Alan D. Wapner is stalking me in furtherance of murder. Put a contract out on my life, targeting me with the people of the state. And he is also engaged in what is a system of public corruption where he's engaged in targeting American citizens altogether. And this is not just Alan D. Wapner. This is Mike LORENZ, Michael GERKEN. This is Paul Leon, the municipality. This is the people of the state. Tracy Banks is a part of this same population. That's why, by the way, I can go to her apartment, and I showed you where Alan D. Wapner, Michael GERKEN, American Medical Response, the Ontario Police, Mike LORENZ, are targeting me specifically at Tracy Banks' apartment, where they also committed kidnapping. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. So is her maniacal psychopath of a partner, this predator, this sex offender, this serial killer, this corrupt government actor as well, Jason Isaac Fields. Okay, this is an ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit murder via gang stalking, a satanic means of targeting someone, and it is exposing public corruption that Southwest Airlines is diligently and obsessively engaging in, and so is American Medical Response. Murderers that are engaging in monitoring in real time and deciding to engage in, as they're being documented, the gang stalking conduct. American Medical Response is on Euclid Avenue, gang stalking at Starbucks at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, while an African-American female with a bad wig is gang stalking with a Caucasian female in the specific environment, which is Starbucks, during the 12 p.m. hour under the fake sun, which is on the same street. And American Medical Response, keeping the evidence under surveillance, is engaging in what is psychological torture. That company is going to be prosecuted not only for the federal RICO, they're profiting off of criminal surveillance, they're engaging in Title 18 federal stalking, they're conspiring a murder of an American citizen that they are targeting, and they're doing so in real time. That's the psychopath that's gang stalking. The Ontario Fire, the same conduct over and over again, okay? The people of the state that are pacing with these demons, that's license plate 8222082. Sharing in that, okay? Crossing path right here in the parking lot, stalking as a demon, obsessed with my vagina, just like the Ontario Fire Department is, just like American Medical Response is. Those are companies that are ran by corrupt actors who are made up of sex offenders and serial killers who are engaging in what is this surveillance system, not firefighting, not ambulatory services. In Ontario, on the same street where the fake sun is rising and setting over me, where are they rushing to with regard to an emergency? They're going toward what the people are of the state. They're engaging in criminal monitoring together, okay? And AMR and the demons of the Ontario Fire Department are also gang stalking me at the Starbucks on the same street at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where this entity committed kidnapping, for which Ocean and Amelia and Patty and everybody else is going to federal prison for the kidnapping that they committed on July 4th, 2025. That which Tracy Banks, that which the Ontario Police Department, that which the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department share in. They're being disbanded and they are going to federal prison. This is committed in furtherance of murder, and theft of money and property. This long-term investment by this government is being hereby exposed, and there is a large pool of defendants who are going to federal prison for conspiring and acting in furtherance of my murder. Okay? It is the reason for the corrupt practices of Southwest Airlines, to name one of many. It is currently 8:55 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is what I'm going to continue to document. The entity is now monitoring the evidence. This is Title 18 federal stalking committed in furtherance of obstruction of justice. Not only are they gang stalking in furtherance of murder, they are keeping the person who they're conspiring to murder under surveillance while the evidence that I'm putting on the internet is evidence about them. That's how bloodthirsty Southwest Airlines is. That's how bloodthirsty the entity is. And that's relevant to the how long, how many years you're getting in prison, how far-reaching those damages are going to be. That's directly relevant, and that's why I'm documenting all of that at the same time. POC. (224) North Euclid Avenue, 9:24 a.m. This is the same Euclid Avenue where the City of Ontario via UPS, Southwest Airlines, and Delta Airlines, while the fake sun is over on the same street, Euclid Avenue. This is the City of Ontario. Ontario police conspiring murder while they're engaged in state surveillance, keeping the person that they have conspired to murder under surveillance, and doing so pursuant to psychological torture, and doing while they're engaged in what is monitoring the evidence of their criminal surveillance on the venue of the internet. That's Mike LORENZ. Okay, the entity, this is Mike LORENZ's criminal conduct. The Delta Airlines, UPS, Southwest Airlines, that's WAPNER's criminal engagement in the conspiracy to commit murder while state surveillance is underway. Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue is conspiring the murder. They're gang stalking. That's why the fake sun is over me at Wells Fargo. This is a demonic environment, and those are demons stalking in a helicopter. Suppose You Drive is engaging in light activity stalking in the path, maintaining peculiarized light monitoring on the venue of the internet while the fake sun is present at 280 North Lemon Apartments. The fake sun is over the same venue where that police department is engaging in surveillance using police vehicles while I'm documenting at 6:28 p.m., while I'm documenting at 4:07 p.m., while that demon is crossing path monitoring me with the Ontario Police Department, this same venue where the fake sun is present. That Ontario Police Department is gang stalking where you saw Southwest Airlines targeting at B Street. B Street is right here. All these demons are stalking with the Ontario Police. This is an ongoing conspiracy to commit murder as a government program. Chaffey Joint Union High School is engaging in that criminal conspiracy to commit murder. They are engaging in what is crossing path light activity, stalking with impossible light under a fake sun as a part of a corrupt practice, which they engage children in that federal stalking conduct as well. B Street is where the Ontario Police is also stalking. The fake sun is over me at this intersection after 6 p.m. as I'm documenting. I believe it is August 15, 2025, and they are doing so as I exit this library, OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street. The Ontario Police Department is openly exposing their engagement in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder of an American citizen whom they have sought to steal property from in concert with Jason Isaac-Fields and Tracy Banks. The entity that's engaging in what is kidnapping, such as Corey Watson conspiring my murder, such as what is C. Torres conspiring my murder, L. Martinez, Jason Knighton and Lester Keys, S. Patty conspiring murder of an American citizen whom they are kidnapping as a targeting entity, exhibiting severe mental illness, which is also relevant to the malice of a gang stalking police department, and doing so as a matter of what is public corruption. All these businesses, all these venues where the people of the state live, work, and travel are sharing in that conspiracy to commit murder. The Ontario Police in particular, B. Hook, Alex Escobar, A. Casada, L. Edwards, they're engaging what is the conspiracy to commit murder while they're targeting as a corrupt agency, which Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac-Fields have specifically acted directly in concert with regard to criminal defamation, San Bernardino County, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, while they are the corrupt agency engaging what is targeting. They are monitoring on the venue of the internet right now. Flying over my head is the ongoing evidence of targeting. Doing so under a fake sun that's still here after 6 p.m. is the evidence of targeting. Doing so as a routine pattern of conduct that is documented on the venue of the internet. They're also doing so with the intent to obstruct justice while I document the people of the state whose license plates will be added to the podcast because they are sharing in that criminal intent to not only conspire murder, but also to obstruct justice while their engagement in the conspiracy to commit murder via gang stalking with the government. That's Alan D. Wapner, Mike LORENZ, Michael GERKEN, American Medical Response, gang stalking entity, the public corruption of the government, that is acting with regard to the long-term investment in keeping me under surveillance as a matter of documentation since 2018. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac feels the government remains in possession of property that belongs to me. The government that is gang stalking, this is the Ontario Police Department, who are demon possessed. They're mentally ill. They're also manifesting this condition through the mentally ill conduct of stalking as a department and using helicopters in particular in a readily identifiable environment, showing that they are indeed targeting, and they're keeping the evidence of their targeting conduct under surveillance, which is relevant to, again, their bloodthirsty nature while they're monitoring the American citizen that is exposing it. They're going to be disbanded and the entity is going to federal prison. Every gang stalking demon wearing Ontario Police Department uniforms are going to federal prison for acting further into the conspiracy to commit murder while they're in this environment, keeping me under surveillance, terrorizing me just as they do as a department, using helicopters with knowledge of the fact that it is being documented. This is P.O.C. and that's impunity. This is crossing paths with the same police department. I documented them in image. I'm going to upload their license plate to the podcast today. They're sharing in the monitoring. They're sharing when gang stalking with the police and further into murder and psychological torture. 8LMC421. And this is a population that is, again, the homosexual women that are stalking in the bathroom of that library, where this same exact government is keeping surveillance until the end of the day, where the fake sun is setting, and again ceaselessly at nightfall, where the fake moon is in the same position as I exited last night. Look at the picture as I exited at around 8:30 p.m. The fake moon is in alignment to me at this same venue where I'm at right now, where the Ontario police are exposing what is, first of all, demon possession and also the corrupt practices of a gang stalking government that's conspiring murder. 9UHL275 is acting with that entity in furtherance of murder, and they're invested in that and compensated for targeting by the entity that has invested. The public entity is engaging in targeting, and it's also a demonic entity. This is P.O.C. On the venue of the internet, the city of Ontario is engaging in surveillance with the people of the state. Wells Fargo is sharing in that. Their customers are gang stalking. Their employees are gang stalking. The demons that are crossing path in the parking lot are gang stalking. The entity is gang stalking in the sky space of Wells Fargo, which is providing nothing other than a facilitating means, a malicious iteration of the same pattern of conduct. So illness and public corruption being exposed. This is a stalker. And these are the homosexuals that stalk in the bathroom, not relieving themselves, but stalking in the path, maintaining activity while they're doing so under a fake sun. Not the dog. The focus is monitoring with the government that's engaged in this P.O.C. Gang stalking immigrants shall very much be subject to what is justice, and that is deportation in California. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:30 a.m. All right, Wells Fargo, located at 240 North Euclid Avenue, they are engaging in what is it's a sex act as the entity that molests you with the engineered light that I've proven is a fact, and it is the evidence of surveillance. It's also the evidence of what is an entity's pattern of psychological torture, sexual violence, harassment, and terrorism. Wells Fargo is engaging in what is the sex act and psychological torture, while Wells Fargo is engaging in federal stalking. Wells Fargo is acting via its patrons, who are demons, who are gang stalking, its employees, who are demons, who are gang stalking, and the establishment itself, which is a stalking means of the pattern of conduct, where the Ontario Police Department is on video targeting me with Wells Fargo in relevant position, with all of the entity in relevant position, and where I'm being molested with impossible light, while the gang stalkers of Wells Fargo are monitoring the evidence of me looking at impossible light, and with simultaneity, I'm being molested with impossible light. This is Wells Fargo's criminal activity. This is a sex offense you're going to prosecute businesses for. This is terrorism that you're going to prosecute businesses for, and Wells Fargo is an entity. So what Wells Fargo is engaging in, the entire state is engaging in. I am sitting adjacent to this venue where I'm being targeted regarding evidence on my communication device, which is also proven through the co-conspirators to murder the Ontario police, who used the hallmark, the helicopter under the fake sun at Wells Fargo, where I'm documenting both the sunrise and the sunset. It is currently 9:54 a.m. where Wells Fargo is engaging in what is psychological torture. The entity repeating that which you're documenting, the entity repeating that which it is engaging in to inflict harm, psychological harm to you. So as they sit back, engage in voyeurism after they commit the offense, then they commit the offense again. That's what Wells Fargo is committing, okay, at 9:52 a.m. The license plates that I will recite, I documented them in the pattern, engaged in the pattern of conduct, criminal presence. Wells Fargo, there's no warrant or probable cause for Wells Fargo to engage in state surveillance as a state actor, maliciously acting as a private company. And Wells Fargo is targeting with what is City of Ontario, that's stalking with light activity. 1672218. And this is the city of Ontario that is gang stalking. These are demons that are stalking under a fake sun while they engage in the emptying the dumpster, engaging in landscaping, engaging in leaf blowing, engaging in the maintenance of the buildings, and they're doing so as the criminal conduct that Paul Leon is being removed from office for. Conspiring murder while maliciously targeting an American citizen. In concert with the demons that stalk with planes and helicopters while the city of Ontario engages in stalking and light in that manner, okay? This is real-time evidence of Paul Leon's conspiracy to commit murder. As I document Paul Leon, as I document Paul Leon's co-defendant, for example, when you're getting to the establishments such as Wells Fargo, Paul Leon engages in what is criminal monitoring via the Ontario International Airport, Alan D. WAPNER, the entity that's talking under a fake sun at the Ontario Town Square, and engaging in what is molesting me with impossible light activity. The City of Ontario's maintenance of light activity is the ongoing pattern of conduct that you're recognizing as well. All right, it is currently 9:55 a.m. where the entity is engaging in what is not published on the Ontario International website. The Ontario International website is not openly publishing acts of terrorism. They're publishing flights that are arriving and departing from that venue, and arrivals and landings at that airport is not never including any sort of hovering throughout the city. You're landing at that airport, and it doesn't include what is hovering over Woodside Senior Apartments en route to the airport at 2500. It doesn't include hovering over E Street and Euclid Avenue en route to the airport to land at Terminal 2 and 4. It doesn't include hovering over the Stater Brothers parking lot. And while it doesn't include that, it's also coexisting with what is the engineer light and the fake sun over my head, while Alan D. WAPNER is proven to be a co-conspirator to murdering me while engaging in what is a program that I've documented with regard to his engagement as a corrupt official, engaging in psychological torture, stalking, domestic terrorism by stalking, using commercial planes, in concert with the corrupt companies that are going to be prosecuted for conspiring as well. Airlines such as Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, UPS, Amazon Prime Air, American Airlines, the Alaska Airlines, Frontier Airlines, etc., that I've documented, and the entity is doing so all under a fake sun, which is again the bullseye for recognizing who are the demon-possessed engaging in what is pacing all around. Who are they engaging in a ritual around? This is a ritual regarding a sacrifice, an ongoing satanic effort to murder someone and psychologically torture them until the date that you take their life. This is murder conduct. This is murderous, and this is absurdly criminal and depraved activity that the government is engaging in with a population of psychopaths. All right, I'm being molested with impossible light. This is Wells Fargo's criminal conduct. 240 North Euclid Avenue. The corporation Wells Fargo is going to be prosecuted for terrorism, psychological torture. This is war tactics. And they're also engaging in this in that specific environment. And this is the federal law that's going to surround the public corruption of the government that engages in conspiring with people like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields to take out an American citizen that they want to target for whatever purpose. And the government engages in what is this gang stalking system, the demon-possessed that target an American citizen. And supposedly doing so, I'm showing you what is the surface level appearance of that system and what is the substantive conduct and execution of that malicious system, as you're getting to recognizing what you're not paying attention to on the surface, a fake sun, what you're not paying attention to on the surface, the entity that is maintaining engineer light, the entity that's engaging in a behavioral pattern where you see the fake sun, you will see the entity surrounding me with methods of flashing light. They're doing that regarding what is not precaution, what is not traffic. They're engaged in what is wanting to appear as engaged in precautions. We're engaging in construction and traffic while the fake sun is over my head. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that satanic targeting system. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. Mike Lorenz, every gang stalker of the Ontario police, they're going to federal prison for conspiring my murder, engaging in kidnapping, and then relying on that criminal activity to manufacture a criminal record, to manufacture what is mental illness while they've been engaged in targeting in the way that the Ontario police very foolishly puts all over the internet. They're literally putting it on the internet when they're monitoring me, and I document it, I put it online, and they engage in this conduct every day. And they engage in this conduct every day under a fake sun that's setting also at this same block when they're engaging in that same conduct, targeting me while they're targeting what is the evidence that's against the entirety of that state of California. It's not just the Ontario police that's being exposed. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is being exposed. The Los Angeles Police Department is being exposed. The Fontana Police Department is being exposed. The Chino Police Department, the Rancho Cucamonga Police Department, which is San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, is being exposed. The Costa Mesa Police Department, the Orange County Sheriff's Department is being exposed. The Pasadena Police Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff, if I didn't recite that already, they're being exposed. The entity that's engaged in gang stalking in a specific environment is shown to be sharing in the same identical pattern of conduct as you're looking at the broader context of all of the evidence while the entity engages in that. This is the entity that engages in more of the P.O.C. while you document. And the demons that are stalking with the possible light include, that's Alan D. WAPNER monitoring. exposing all of the aforesaid law enforcement agencies, license 9EZF940 and license 8WMW634. At 10 a.m. under a fake sun. That is not going to be in Pasadena, California. It's not going to be in Hesperia, California. It's not going to be at the Chase Bank, where the Los Angeles Police Department is flying in circles over my bank as I'm arriving there, the fake sun over me the entire route. And the maniacal psychopaths that engage in this conduct and listen to me expose them engage in real-time creation of ongoing evidence of terrorizing and psychologically torturing with the intent to obstruct justice. That's shared by the people who are pacing in the adjacent parking lot. They're monitoring, they're stalking. They do so as psychopaths engaging in an ongoing obsessive ritual that Satan is not able to catch. They're not able to accomplish the satanic ritual. I'm exposing and I'm prosecuting, and they're going to federal prison for conspiring murder. All right, they're conspiring murder while they're stalking an American citizen. Engineer light shoots backwards onto my person while demons engage in what exactly I documented, coinciding with what is monitoring what I'm doing on my phone. Okay, so the demons that are indeed engaged in federal stalking engage in what are molestation, a sex act, and an act of terrorism and psychological torture while they're stalking at Wells Fargo 240 North Euclid Avenue, and Wells Fargo is being prosecuted for it. Okay, Wells Fargo is sharing in the criminal conduct just like they did right now. While the entity is molesting me with impossible light, Wells Fargo is sharing in that act of terrorism as well, psychological torture as well, in furtherance of murder as well, and that is the corrupt business of Wells Fargo. That's a federal RICO case. Okay, it is currently 10:01 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, Wells Fargo, it's again 10:38 a.m. Wells Fargo is engaged in the ongoing harassment and terrorism pursuant to federal stalking in concert with the criminals that are the patrons of that facilitating venue. Wells Fargo is engaged in domestic terrorism in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder of the target individual, that is myself, and so is every third party that I am documenting stalking with impossible light. This supernatural occurrence, which is occurring inside of Starbucks, which is relevant to the videos that you can see today, that light activity inside of Starbucks, the light activity aboard Omnitrans is the light activity that Wells Fargo is molesting me with while Wells Fargo is keeping me under surveillance with the Ontario International Airport that's maintaining plane activity, stalking and doing so while they're monitoring my internet activity, my documentation, which is evidence against the entity, and doing so in concert with the entity at Wells Fargo. License 7SKR980, co-conspiring and murdering me while they are gang stalking and engaging in a sex offense in the name of Wells Fargo, in the name of the state of California, while they are engaging in federal stalking Title 18 with the intent to obstruct justice. These are, in other words, to put it in layman's terms, these are pedophiles. These are murderers who are hostile about the evidence, and so they engage in what is then molesting me with impossible light while they are pacing out of the parking lot, gang stalking and doing so. And it is criminal conduct that Wells Fargo is sharing in. Wells Fargo represents the deep pockets that you're going to civilly and criminally sue with regard to the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaging in as a matter of public corruption. They are doing so, again, screenshots captured at 10:37 a.m. The video documentation is published on the venue of the internet regarding what the Ontario International Airport, regarding what the Ontario Police Department co-conspiring in my murder. This is Mike Lorenz's criminal conduct. This is Alan D. Wapner's criminal conduct, Paul Leon's criminal conduct, Michael Gerken's criminal conduct, and the entity, the businesses that represent. These are demons. These are corrupt actors. These are co-conspirators of murder. As you're understanding, who's the name, who is responsible, who is profiting from what Starbucks is engaging, what Wells Fargo is engaging, what the Ontario Town Square is engaging in, because this is the entity that has a name, that has people who are responsible for the criminal conduct where I'm present, where I am documenting it, and it is in furtherance of criminal conduct with regard to what Tracy Banks has solicited in order to have her own daughter murdered while psychologically torturing her and targeting her as a statewide system of surveillance that's accomplishing murder. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in real time. The entity is engaging in what is spiritually attacking. These are the mentally sick. They're engaging in what is the practice of witchcraft, spiritually attacking, and they're also in the physical, as I'm proving, they're gang stalking me. And this is why, again, Jason Isaac Fields, Tracy Banks are subject to federal prison. They're also engaging in this with knowledge that they're being documented. This is Tracy Banks that is witnessing her exposure, witnessing the criminal conduct of her co-conspirator, the government, Jason Isaac Fields, being exposed on the internet, and she is still sitting on property that belongs to me while the government is still conspiring my murder, which is Tracy Banks conspiring my murder while she remains in custody of property that belongs to me. That's the same charge upon Jason Isaac Fields, and it's the charge that Wells Fargo is sharing in there, an entity stealing property from me, conspiring my murder, and gang stalking me in doing so. And every step of the way that it was exposed on the internet, the entity, including Wells Fargo, kept me under surveillance and kept that evidence under surveillance, which is relevant to damages that Wells Fargo will be prosecuted for, which is relevant to the criminal prosecution of that business that's sharing in conspiracy to murder, that business that's sharing in criminal surveillance, that business that's sharing in criminal surveillance with the intent to obstruct justice, to conceal their engagement in conspiring the murder of an American citizen that they are criminally surveilling, doing so under the what is this, exposed public corruption, because Wells Fargo is engaging in malicious and criminal activity and calling it a private business. License 8FAF 643, gang stalking with Wells Fargo, stalking with impossible light while they're driving in the parking lot, and there's no warrant or probable cause for Wells Fargo to facilitate nor to be engaged in, and they are facilitating while the people of the state are gang stalking as patrons at that venue. This is how public corruption is operated, and this is what Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac feels the government solicited in order to steal my money and property, which they remain in custody of while they are still conspiring my murder. What you're going to pay attention to is that it is 10:42 a.m. I walk to the entrance routinely, and I document not only the Ontario police chasing me down in helicopter to that entrance, for the fake suns over that entrance at 10 a.m. as they open the doors and all the demons that are stalking enter in to maintain surveillance on behalf of this entity. You're going to look at the absence of the sun over that entrance while it's remaining over Ontario Town Square, where I'm documenting the demons who are stalking very much so as an establishment, Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. The demons' license plates that I'm reciting, that includes terrorists and sex offenders, co-conspirators to murder, license 7SKR980. This is the entity that's engaging in this conduct, and the sun is not over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library, but you already know that that's not the sun, and that it is a bullseye with recognizing where surveillance is underway, and surveillance is underway regarding my vagina in the bathroom of the OVITT Family Community Library, where sex offenders, by driving in a parking lot, driving at the turn circle of the OVITT Family Community Library, monitor my genitalia, license 9EMG133, and they do so pursuant to obsessive, psychopathic, and sexually perverted means of surveillance in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder, which that third party is intentionally, knowingly, and continuously engaging in as an entity. And this is what the entity is sharing in with the Ontario Police, a kidnapping agency engaging in criminal surveillance and the violence that they commit while you witness me publish the podcast, and the entity engages in the ongoing ritual that the demon-possessed, the co-conspirators to murder Mike LORENZ and the entirety of the Ontario Police, who are being disbanded. Not just the demons that I document engaging in criminal conduct, which is proven, that is insufficient for them alone to go to federal prison. This is the disbanding of that entire agency that is committed to criminal conduct and the criminal activity of the entire city of Ontario. It is because of the criminal activity of the Ontario Police. They are being disbanded, and the demon-possessed gang stalkers of the Ontario Police are going to federal prison. They are also done with law enforcement, because this is not ordinary criminal conduct, it's domestic terrorism. You will not be engaged in law enforcement as a terrorist in the United States. It is currently 10:44 a.m., where the sun is not over the entrance, by the way, of the OVITT Family Community Library at 215 E.C. Street, because the OVITT Family Community Library is not a family community property or business or library. It is engaged in state surveillance, which is sexually perverted. It is demented. It is also psychopathic, and it's also satanic. The entity is engaged in surveillance while that bullseye is over the entrance of that OVITT Family Community Library, and they are monitoring while the fake sun is over me at the Ontario Town Square while I'm facing that OVITT Family Community Library. Okay, that's P.O.C. Those are psychopaths that you see sitting around on laptops, working in the venue, pushing book carts, staring at books with them open, and they're engaging in surveillance. And the fake sun that's over me at the same time at the Ramada by Wyndham, the Economy Inn on Euclid Avenue, the Woodside Senior Apartments on G Street, the entity that's gang stalking on Omnitrans when I'm aboard at the TAD office, on Holt Boulevard, at the Stater Brothers on Holt Boulevard, at the Starbucks at 706 West HOLT. The entity is engaging in what is clear identification of targeting, which is recognized in an environment. And the OVITT Family Community Library is another venue that committed kidnapping with the Ontario Police, who engaged in stalking again on video with regard to the ongoing over-exhausted use of terrorism. It's not stopping the evidence from going on the internet while they engage in it, and they show that they are acting in furtherance of my murder. They've been compensated to do so, and they're doing so as a pattern of conduct shared by the government. The City of Ontario is engaged and committed to keeping me under surveillance to commit murder in particular. The Ontario Police and every gang stalker stalking me as a police officer, using the police vehicles, wearing the uniforms, the badges, using the helicopters, they're going to federal prison. They are not only engaging in what is stalking, they're engaging in stalking in furtherance of murder. These co-conspirators to murder under the fake sun gang stalking me, like Alex Escobar at 333 North Euclid Avenue, at the U.S. Bank of what is D Street in Euclid. He's going to federal prison for co-conspiring in my murder while he is gang stalking under a fake sun in a manner that the federal government was never supposed to recognize as a malicious and maniacal psychopath and a sex offender that committed kidnapping on July 4, 2025. He's going to federal prison for that as well. And the department that's engaging in stalking in helicopter routinely, just like they did again today at 9:24 a.m. under an entirely fake sun, engaging what is the outward demonstration of mental illness, pacing, flying in circles over me, while I am also on the internet uploading evidence pursuant to that same pattern of conduct. That agency that has committed a series of kidnappings, acting via terrorists like Alex Escobar, they are going to be disbanded. And it is the evidence to put demons like Alex Escobar in federal prison, because that's exactly where you're going, where I've documented you in the specific environment. I've documented you in my path. Those are the co-conspirators to murder, a part of corrupt law enforcement agencies, and they are going to federal prison. It's currently 10:47 a.m. at 224 North Euclid Avenue, the Ontario Town Square, where the fake sun is remaining over my head and not over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. Co-conspirators to murder. The people of the state, license 6HDH193, 8RWW205, Idaho plate, Nancy 187653, license 75810, Charlie 4. 24-hour express services are co-conspirators to murder as a corrupt business. License 22042, Bob 4. License 9 Frank Edward Sam 644. License K Apple Uncle, K as in kite, Apple Uncle 6883. That's a New York plate. License 9 JUV 544 7 NOD 865. License 6 Zebra Raphael Franklin 403. License 70620B1. Gang stalking, co-conspiring murder while engaging in public corruption. And the way that you know that it's not about the concrete that this malicious psychopath is spraying down with water, that it's about co-conspiracy to murder while they start the ignition and move the vehicle. Stalking, I'll show you a picture of the fake sun while they're doing it. And the picture of the fake sun is at the same intersection where after 6:10 p.m. Holt Boulevard is where this same Ontario police that you see stalking on the opposite side of the street at the Ontario Town Square at 9:24 a.m. are engaging in monitoring me. Monitoring is the inhumane means of surveillance that's pursuant to an unabated program of psychological torture that a government, which the city of Ontario is engaging in, by the way, with an immigrant population who have a disdain for the Constitution, for the laws, for the rights of American citizens, for human rights of people. Now, you don't even have to be an American to have human rights. And this is, again, that which the government is soliciting. And this is that which Tracy Banks has solicited. This is what the U.S. government is engaging in amongst other American citizens who are already 6 feet under. Co-conspiring to murder, license 8YDM651. Chino police let you know about the enemy that they are to the United States government, gang stalking at this intersection under the fake sun while they know that it's being published as well. That's how they feel about American citizens enforcing their constitutional and human rights while they're conspiring to murder them by gang stalking them as a corrupt police agency. The same with the Upland Police and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. The sun is never going to be at the same intersection where these co-conspirators to murder are stalking. License 9KHN080, 6LIA011, 9MLP988, 7KBR322, CX73E14 paper, 9GVV490, 38374P1, 9FOY663, and the pure numerosity is a testament to the violence of those that are murderers in the state of California. 71461 Apple 4. The sheer volume of documentation, the sheer resources that the government utilizes, the airport, the police, the fire department, the ambulance services are all centered around murdering one person. This is a conspiracy to commit murder, and it is the evidence of gang stalking, which is proven through the body of evidence, which is referred to as the P.O.C, where you will see the demon-possessed who practice violence. They practice sexual violence, they practice witchcraft as well, and they do so with the full intent and the promise to Satan, by the way, to murder someone, and they're doing it for profit. This is, again, the co-conspirators to murder, and you're going to be prosecuted for gang stalking for trying to murder somebody. It's the conspiracy to commit murder, that which is underway. The execution of gang stalking, they've already acted in furtherance of committing that murder. The conspiracy is complete. license 6FJU475. You are being deported. You are going to federal prison, gang stalking as a police department. You are being removed from office. You are associated and directly engaged in conspiracy to murder American citizens as the mayor, as the police chief, as the fire chief, as the population. License 9UOC250, 9NFP320. I'm at 123 West Holt Boulevard and the demons are monitoring. The fake sun is over me and it's nowhere near the OVITT Family Community Library. And I've been documenting Tracy Banks gang stalking me inside of her vehicle, driving on this very street, driving by this very venue where the fake sun at 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, remaining in alignment to me, just like you see on Euclid Avenue through Omnitrans bus windows. And the fake sun remains over me while she's been conspiring to murder her own daughter, whom she's gang stalking. She's going to prison and so is her sex partner, Jason Fields. P.O.C. All right, I want to show you the entity that is monitoring. This is also the federal government. The United States Postal Service is gang stalking. That's also proven by the demons that deliver the mail wearing the United States Postal Service uniforms. And it's also proven at 123 West Holt Boulevard. The fake sun is over my head at that venue, which is the United States Postal Service, engaging in the pattern of conduct. And that's what's so comical about what I documented, them intentionally misspelling my name, spelling it E-R-I-C-H, where on a keyboard, if it was an accidental typo, H is nowhere even near an A. The entity is engaging what is misspelling my name, removing the name Erica altogether, putting Lorraine Spencer. This is while, again, the United States Postal Service is gang stalking. This is the federal government as well, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. There's no mistake. You're not engaging in any accidental misspellings. This is, again, the malicious conduct of also deranged psychopaths who are also delusional. The United States Postal Service is under the fake sun, and I also have the documentation of this same office under the fake sun in the evening, where the United States Postal Service is specifically monitoring me in furtherance of murder, okay? And they are directly engaged in what is the unlawful conduct. This is relevant to what would be federal charges, withholding mail that I am entitled to. They're entitled, you're talking about federal, with regard to mail fraud, things while you were violating the American citizens' rights, while you're engaging in targeting me. The United States Postal Service is at the center of that engagement. The entity did not give me mail pertaining to my property. The entity did not give me mail pertaining to court hearings, and that is the United States Postal Service that's directly engaging in it. And the fact of the fake sun over my head, my documenting that, is relevant to the evidence that the federal government is already in custody of. It is not an anomaly. It is not that particular mail carrier when I'm in Los Angeles or wherever it is that I'm living and I'm not getting mail. It's a part of the system, and that is relevant to what is federal law. You're going to federal prison for interfering while pursuant to a state system, which I've also documented. The United States Postal Service targeting me in every city, including where I'm living in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, where USPS is under the fake sun, with LAPD targeting me where the fake sun is rising and setting. In the same manner, by the way, that the Ontario Police Department so generously showed you how the American citizens are targeted, how they murder and conspire, psychologically torture them until they take their lives, which is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. They are brutal psychopaths who are enemies of the Constitution. They are terrorists in the United States, murdering people and not engaging in law enforcement while they're stalking me by helicopter under a fake sun, in the same manner that the Los Angeles Police Department is, where the United States Postal Service is targeting. And my not getting any notification about these corrupt court hearings about property while they're defaming my character is a part of the P.O.C. And the United States Postal Service is at the center of that as well. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because there are like I said, there's a pool of defendants who are going to federal prison, and these are fools that engage in stalking every day in a helicopter, showing that they're targeting. It is currently 11:07 a.m. These are indeed co-conspirators to murder. At the 123 West Holt Boulevard is at the same intersection where I'm present after 6 p.m. This is on video for you to see, August 15, 2025. The sun is not some stationary object. That's why you're looking at it in Florida. Whoever you are in Florida, in Miami, Florida, the Miami-Dade Police Department would like to claim that they're not demons engaging in surveillance in the United States, but they are. And they're under a fake sun. And the Ontario Police Department and the LAPD are sharing how they engage in surveillance in this country, let alone in California, where I'm prosecuting and I'm putting the demon possessed on the map for very horrible reasons. It is currently, again, 11:08 a.m. Co-conspiring to murder is every business in the state of California. This is the government. This is a statewide. This is the government that's engaging in the conspiracy to murder one person. All right? That's the P.O.C. 7BZX553, 75398P3, 4417JO, 9EYU331. And let me show you the fake son where all these co-conspirators to murder are stalking at the same intersection where I'm present on video, August 15, 2025. Where I'm telling you that they're pedophiles. I'm telling you that they are co-conspiring with the state, who was flying in circles over me at this same intersection at HOLT in Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. They are indeed engaged in what is targeting American citizens, and they're doing so knowingly and intentionally and ceaselessly. They're violent sex offenders. They commit egregious acts of sexual violence. They engage in psychological torture, criminal means of stalking. They let out their closeted mental illness on an American citizen that has no evidence to prove it, and then they engage in taking their life. They're murderers. 8TAJ038, 9JCL695. That's the P.O.C. This is domestic terrorism, and the government's going to be prosecuted for it. These are not private citizens. They're in the specific environment. This is state surveillance. Every household, every business, every level of government is engaging in the conspiracy to murder an American citizen, and it's the work of Satan. It's demon possession. That's also no longer closeted. The United States Postal Service is at 123 West Holt Boulevard, and they're sharing in that pattern of conduct. Misspelling my name, it's hilarious, while they're gang stalking at the same time. That's the malice of the entity. That's targeting, and they think that nobody, that's the logic behind that. I'm misspelling your name, so that means I'm not targeting you. These are the intellectually inept that I'm going to prosecute. Literally, by neighborhood, by business, by department, okay, by name. So many of you are getting a prosecution under your name alone. It is currently 11:10 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, I want to identify specifically more defendants engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder while targeting me, molesting me in particular with impossible light activity. License 8HUN386, 7WGX675, CBG0699, that's a Texas plate. That's impossible audible activity. While these third parties are indeed conspiring my murder, gang stalking, 35455V2. It is currently 11:12 a.m. The amplified sound of the train, Union Pacific, is not sounding throughout the city of Ontario. Amtrak, Metrolink, these are means of, first of all, they're all engaged in the pattern of conduct. But second of all, that's amplified audible activity while a fake sun's over the top of my head. This is P.O.C. license 1497512. That's the senior transportation, gang stalking. Impossible light dragging on the ground behind that vehicle. That's never sunlight. And this is at the same parking lot where the Metro 102 apartments, United Airlines, UPS, Southwest Airlines, providing what is an ongoing tutorial about how state surveillance is underway when they're conspiring to murder an American citizen, the way they do it, the ways in which and who is engaged in it. And this is the same parking lot where, by the way, from 6:45, 7 in the morning, and it's 11:12 a.m. at that same parking lot. And everything that I documented that morning with regard to the fake sun that was in the same venue where the mayor, Paul Leon, is gang stalking by office. His office is engaged in criminal surveillance. And this is also identifying that office associated with Satanism, associated with pedophilia, associated with mental illness, psychopathic to be particular, also associated with organized crime and murder. So the solicitation, the conspiracy to commit murder, and doing so as a corrupt government. That's engaging the P.O.C. while the fake sun remains, by the way, over 303 East B Street where Paul Leon's office, the Ontario Gang Stalking City Council, that's engaged in targeting me. All right, that's P.O.C. That's P.O.C. It's currently 11:13 a.m. where the entity follows me around the city with a fake sun, and that is very clearly seen. And then you're going to look at what LAPD is doing, what Hesperia, California is doing, what West Covina, California is doing, what Pasadena, California is doing, what Arcadia, California is doing, what Azusa, California is doing, what Costa Mesa, California is doing, what Bakersfield, California is doing, because they're engaging in the same P.O.C., the same pattern of conduct, and doing so in furtherance of murder. Millions of people acting in with regard to a contract on the life of an American citizen. That's domestic terrorism in the United States. License 5NOZ723. 8XXC619. Party Plus is gang stalking. The fake sun is right over the top of my head at the 280 North Lemon Apartments. License 38406K2. This is a corrupt business that's engaged in what is the conspiracy to commit murder. And so are the third parties that are operating that third party business, not a private right? No constitutional rights are exercised when you're engaging in the conspiracy to commit murder, which is proven through the specific environment, through the behavioral pattern of the entity that is targeting an American citizen, and doing so with regard to psychological torture in order to commit murder. License 29887C3, stalking with the possible light while I document party plus rentals. Maniacal psychopaths, okay? Sex offenders. Using a party plus rentals bus while they want to monitor my vagina, because that's what supposed drive is engaging in as well. 43805L3, creating what is engaging what is loitering in relevant position. Delivering refrigerators is the corrupt business. That is the malicious guise of the same pattern of conduct. The fake son is present long after supposed drive is gone. Engaged in facilitation, speaking revealing that they are part of a population of demons who are engaging in corrupt practices designed to monitor, that is, surveil another person, doing so under the absurdly idiotic and also obvious and clear evidence, probative, highly probative evidence of what is monitoring, because there's no sun over the entrance, and it's going to arrive over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library as I walk toward that entrance, contrary to what I'm documenting at 10 a.m. every day. And also it's directly showing what is going on at Economy Inn, while that fake sun is remaining over my head at that venue. What's going on at Woodside Senior Apartments, what's going on at Ramada by Wyndham. It's targeting, and it's committed in furtherance of murder. Right, these are homosexual women stalking and monitoring my vagina in the bathroom at OVITT. And these are the entity of demons who are gang stalking, surrounding, acting with these demons that are stalking in the women's restroom. It's P.O.C. It's 11:16 a.m. The OVITT Family Community Library is directly associated with the criminal conduct of the corrupt mayor and the corrupt Ontario City Council. And Paul Leon's keeping all the evidence under surveillance while he is very much aware of the fact of his criminal conduct being exposed, and that's relevant to the mental illness associated with his criminal engagement in gang stalking me as a corrupt politician. P.O.C. This is monitoring, fake sun ride over the top of my head. This is 1555 East Holt Boulevard. The entity amplifying plane activity inside of the post office and targeting with impossible light inside of the post office. And the fake sun departs from being over the OVITT Family Community Library. H448B1 POC. All right, yeah, no mail yet. Oh, I hope that wasn't too long.
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, okay, it's 106. Are you sure?
Totally, yeah, we're totally
It sounded like you were kind of being sarcastic. Oh, no, not at all.
No, we're totally
but I needed to make sure, and they didn't have usually they have a line where you're waiting for the line, for mail, but they didn't, so I had to wait in the line.
Did you find out if they're open tomorrow?
I did. They are open tomorrow, but, look at the light source through the windshield. Moving as I move. This is the post office that's open. I believe it's Monday through Friday. I think it'll be open on Saturday too. Alrighty, this is the fake move. This is Holt Boulevard, and license 9T SP450 is Simba. That's also targeting at Economy Inn. Under the fake sun is the proof of that, and the intentional engagement in that targeting system. And this is committed in furtherance of murder. It's exposing public corruption. And so Simba, the face, is associating itself with services in the name of Christ. There's nothing that is committed in the name of Christ that's committed in furtherance of murder, pursuant to public corruption, and the demonic targeting system. This is the fake sun over me at the TAD office, where I'm present on June 6, 2025. I'm present at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the fake sun is over me while I'm standing on Holt Boulevard, where the entity kept the fake sun leaving the OVITT Family Community Library, not remaining over the entrance, showing that that is an establishment that's engaged in targeting, including my vagina in the bathroom, where homosexual women and sex offenders of the male gender are surrounding me, and the entity maintains amplified audible activity inside of that bathroom pursuant to my movements, pursuant to what is going on, specifically regarding my genitalia. Those are the sex offenders that are engaging in what is gang stalking. It's relevant to sexually motivated and predatory means of psychological torture while you are kept under surveillance until the entity commits the act of what is taking your life, okay? So this is the entity that's doing so in a specific environment. They're doing so with the gang stalking immigrant population. They're doing so while I'm at a government property. This is the TAD office, San Bernardino County, who you see gang stalking in a vehicle at 1841 East G Street at 12:32 p.m. With the Ontario Police Department. The sun is not remaining both over the OVITT Family Community Library, both over Economy Inn, and also while the entity is stalking in planes While that's understanding American Airlines is gang stalking. And when you're taking off right here, you're looking at what they're doing when they're flying over the 280 North Lemon Apartments. This is the P.O.C. The entity has the fake sun over me at 215 E.C. Street. The entity has the fake sun over me at 1627 West Holt Boulevard at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's also how you know that American Airlines is engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder by gang stalking. It's the criminal conduct by the government and the people of the state that is committed because they intend to murder the person that they are keeping under surveillance. And it is psychological torture, unabated program of psychological torture until the date that the entity is taking the life of that person. And this is what Tracy Banks and Jason Fields have conspired with the government, and the government is following all manner of places with this impossible light activity. And this is where the government, that is the Ontario Police, have committed kidnappings, and they're going to federal prison as a corrupt terrorist organization. It is currently 1:13 p.m. at 1627 West Holt Boulevard, where the sun would not be at the same address at 10 in the morning, June 6, 2025. And then I get on the bus and I go to the OVITT Family Community Library. That's the documentation that you're looking at. This is P.O.C.
All right, it needs to be understood. Thank you. Okay, again, for the entity to be engaging in the pattern of conduct at a government building, such as a government property, such as the County of San Bernardino Transitional Assistance Department. This is San Bernardino County. This is, again, on the website. This is associated with the state of California. Gavin Newsom you're talking about, this is a government that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. The implications regarding the P.O.C. I've shown the same government engagement in the pattern of conduct at the DMV. Again, when you look at these websites online, it's the same umbrella. It's the state of California, the TAD office, San Bernardino County, the state of California's Department of Motor Vehicles. While the entity is engaging, what I'm showing is a pattern of conduct at these government venues. They're not merely public property. It's not merely the government that's in on its own property engaging in what is supposed to be the business of the people. This is a crime scene, as I'm showing the state of California engaging in it and specifically targeting me. This is relevant to the malice, as when I'm going to these state facilitating venues and they do things with regard to monitoring, and this is they're creating the illusion of privacy when they ask you your name and they ask you, can you verify this and can you verify that, when they know who you are, they know your information, they know what's going on pertaining to your genitalia in a private space when they're not physically occupying that space, okay? This is the entity that is gang stalking at the San Bernardino County TAD office at 1627 East Holt Boulevard. And you need to understand logically and legally the ongoing criminal conspiracy that is underway at a government building. This is a state facilitating venue. This is that which is occurring in furtherance of murder. This is the government. This is the a public venue with regard to the government's engagement in the pattern of conduct. It's not different when you go to the police station, and I showed you the Ontario Police Department, I showed you the San Diego Police Department, I showed you the Fontana Police Department, I showed you the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in Palmdale. I've shown you the entity that with regard to the courthouses that are engaging in the pattern of conduct and targeting me with regard to the supernatural maintenance of that environment that is showing you the proof of that targeting system underway. This is an entity that is doing so, and it is committed in furtherance of murder. This is literally a contract that is existing with regard to an American citizen's life and targeting that American citizen at all times, at all places, and to show that the government is engaging in that is to show that the government is engaged in that unlawful contract to take the life of an American citizen whom it is targeting, as I prove at every courthouse, at every police station, at every government building, such as the Transitional Assistant Department, where the fake sun is over me, both in the morning and in the afternoon, and on the roads and highways when that fake sun is dynamic and no longer stationary, remaining over the parking lot as I'm inside of the building at 1627 West Holt. And that fake sun, in pursuit of that pattern of conduct, in conformity to that pattern of conduct, is keeping that fake sun dynamic because I am the target. The entity is engaging in this, and this is the San Bernardino County, this is the state of California, the evidence of the government that is targeting me in furtherance of committing murder. This is public corruption. Okay, everything concerning my information regarding my case, regarding my name, my benefits, this is public information. This is relevant to surveillance that the state of California is engaging in, and this is under what is the leadership of Gavin Newsom, who is fully engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay, every level of government is engaging in it, and it's occurring under Gavin Newsom's watch, and he is fully aware of that. That's P.O.C. All right, inside of the TAD office is the same engagement in public corruption. That's audible activity. light activity, and relevant positioning accomplished by the population, that sharing presence in the environment, and they're monitoring together. All right, this is public corruption committed by the county of San Bernardino, the state of California, that's engaged in public corruption with the people of the state. The people of the state come to the TAD office just like they go to Starbucks to engage in the elements of monitoring, and that's why a whole fake sun is over the TAD office. This is exposing public corruption by that government actor, the county of San Bernardino, who, by the way, is again at the forefront of what is acting toward what is the criminal defamation aspect of seeking to kidnap, and the entity doing so in furtherance of what is ultimately murder. And this is with regard to the objective to steal property from me. And San Bernardino County is also engaged in the pattern of conduct while gang stalking at every state facilitating venue that they maintain, including the TAD office at 1627 and 1647 West Holt, which I've been documenting as a matter of evidence well before 2025. Okay, so you're looking at the body of evidence of this office of the San Bernardino County targeting, while at the same time, San Bernardino County that's what Arrowhead Regional Medical Center is. They're gang stalking under a fake sun over that corrupt court, claiming to have jurisdiction with regard to mental health court, where they're engaging in criminal activity and using that to criminally defame my character in concert with the government, while they are at the same time engaging in psychological torture and also the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is an outrageous level of hypocrisy and corruption, and it's that which is committed by the government. The government is engaging in it because the government is also in the position to state the status or the so-called criminal offenses or healthy or unhealthy mind state with regard to adjudicating over the mental health of an American citizen, where the government that is targeting is also maintaining that position that is traditionally not questioned. All right, and that is changing with regard to exposing surveillance, number one, and also with regard to exposing targeting amongst an unlawful system of surveillance. And the government has committed this against me in furtherance of murdering me. And the San Bernardino County has committed several kidnappings with the Ontario Police Department, who are also on the record gang stalking me at this office under the fake sun. Okay, this is all evidence that is sitting on the record. It's just sitting there. It's already in existence. All right, there is under no circumstances anything but gang stalking while the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and everything is serving that. This is relevant to what would be a federal RICO case against Starbucks, for example. The announcements is audible activity. Engineer light is inside and all covering all of the property under a fake sun, where the entity is engaging in what is maintaining a place. This is a government that's maintaining a place for the people of the state to share in the corrupt system of targeting an American citizen, which together they are planning to murder. Okay, and doing so through the defaming system of gang stalking. Again, I have shown not only is gang stalking not any sort of evidence to defame any American citizen's character, it is actually exposing closeted mental illness by psychopaths who engage in what is targeting an American citizen, placing a contract on their head, on their life, while you're targeting them, hunting them, and doing it in the most psychopathic and malicious and demented manners, as the evidence shows. The entity is actually the one that is mentally ill and projecting that onto the targeted individual, which is serving the criminal purposes of a government targeting an American citizen in the first place. And here, San Bernardino County is targeting in furtherance of profiting from my demise. San Bernardino County is also targeting with Tracy Banks. Tracy Banks is at this venue, driving by this venue, engaging in what is gang stalking me with San Bernardino County. San Bernardino County engaged in criminal defamation, which Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, the gang stalking courts have relied on. And San Bernardino County is engaged in psychological torture and federal group stalking and monitoring. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 1:53 p.m. at 1627 East Holt, where the sun would never, the natural environment never includes the sun over here. In addition to that, when you are mindful of the evidence, and this, by the way, this is impunity. This is the entity, for example, stalking in helicopter while I'm documenting the people of the state. The use of the announcements is ongoing monitoring while it is being exposed at the same time. This is all of the documentation that's going to be used with regard to malice and impunity. The government never should have engaged in targeting in the first place. This is not the legitimate operation of a government office. This is criminal monitoring underway while it is simultaneously being exposed, reported, while the federal case is underway. For that, San Bernardino County, the state of California, is going to be prosecuted. This is an unlawful threat to my life in real time. Okay, be mindful of that. Everything that you're hearing, an ongoing criminal presence by that same entity that's sharing. Is the sun over the OVITT Family Community Library, or is it over 1627 East Holt? The entity is targeting, as I'm showing you that. The entity is keeping the light source with regard to the bullseye of the entity that is engaging what is obsessive stalking and psychological torture and furtherance of murder. The loss of life is the objective in order to steal my property. All right, San Bernardino County is engaged in that. It's 1:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 2:05 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over 1627 East Holt Boulevard, where the entity is also combining that with the plane activity, where the entity is concentrating flight. This is aerial surveillance. It's also demonic. The pattern of conduct is demonic. So these are demons that are concentrating planes, and it's amplified in volume inside of the venue, where the fake sun is hovering over me at the venue. And then this is where you're getting to the common sense aspect of what is no mystery here. The entity is engaged in gang stalking. San Bernardino County is engaged in gang stalking, as the evidence that's already published proves. And this is relevant to San Bernardino County conspiring my murder in concert with the entity that's targeting using planes, as I've documented, using helicopters, as I've documented, the entity engaging in this here. But on August 25th, 2025, the fake sun is over my head in the same manner at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. I captured that in images at Starbucks. This is where an entity is maintaining impossible light inside of that Starbucks. This is where the entity is engaging what is recognizing that targeting system. You're also recognizing targeting when the supernatural is present. The supernatural with regard to the sun being present over me at this same address, 1627 East Holt Boulevard, in the morning on June 6, 2025. And then the whole environment moves, remaining over me.
First floor, door A.
This is monitoring through the practice of the office, the business practices, using the presence of the people of the state as the guise for monitoring. This is public corruption by San Bernardino County. But the entity is having the fake sun over me as I'm documenting. Same time of year is relevant. Remember, in June 6, 2025, I'm also living at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles on June 6, 2024. San Bernardino County is already surrounded with evidence of engaging in what is the conspiracy to murder by gang stalking as a corrupt government office that is masquerading as the provision of services to the civilian population that is gang stalking with it. And that's also shown in 2025 evidence of the fake sun over the roof of the Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue, where I remained on August 25th. Well after 2 p.m. In fact, after 6 p.m., that fake sun is still in alignment to that door of that Starbucks, which is not remaining over 1627 East Holt Boulevard, and also
Now
over the entrance of the
OVITT
OVITT Family Community Library, and also remaining over the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where the sun would never remain in one city over all of that city, and the sun is not remaining over all of us everywhere all day long, every single last one of our homes where we are, and every single last one of our addresses where we work. This is not the natural environment. That's not the sun, and it's also not even remotely similar or having anything to do with the sun. In addition, the entity is engaging in what is stalking with audible noise, stalking with impossible light that is dynamic, stalking with engineered light that is peculiar on its face, creating shadows within the shadow, creating light above your head, your shadow above your head. This is the demonic conduct that San Bernardino County is engaging in, and it is no wonder that they're engaging in criminal defamation. All right, that is on the record. They are engaging in gang stalking me inside of the office of San Bernardino County. San Bernardino County represents the entity, and every office within San Bernardino County, the behavioral health, San Bernardino County, the traditional assistance department where I'm at now, San Bernardino County, the elderly and the aged population within San Bernardino County, that office, every office providing jobs assistance within San Bernardino County, the entire government is engaged in gang stalking, which is relevant to my evidence as I'm prosecuting the state of California. The entity is concentrating, in other words, plane activity. The entity has a fake sun over me at Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue, just with regard to the latest evidence. And the entity is at the same time keeping it over the roof of 1627 East Holt when I'm already here, by the way, in the morning. If that was the sun on the morning of June 6, 2025, then it would not be over me or over anyone at the same address at 1 o'clock and remaining at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no sun in Florida when the
environment is behaving in this manner, and it has nothing to do with the sun. Okay, this is P.O.C. And this is the evidence of what the state of California is doing throughout the state, and this is that which Gavin Newsom is fully in operation of and is aware of, and I am exposing the governor and every corrupt mayor, every politician throughout the state of California while the pattern of conduct is underway, while I remain in Ontario, California, and while I document the pattern of conduct and showing you the contrast regarding the environment that stalks me pursuant to domestic terrorism that Gavin Newsom is engaging in. This is, again, a domestic terrorist, not different from a foreign terrorist, maintaining terrorism throughout the state of California, responsible for and aware of the terrorism underway in all of the counties, amongst all of the gang-stalking corrupt officials like Paul Leon, who are targeting me as I go from city to city and county to county, and documenting and exposing the corrupt law enforcement agencies and corrupt government bodies, which, by the way, he is in a position to place in the positions that they hold, working with Karen Bass. You see him on the news regarding the fires that that entity set. He is on the news. He is a psychopath. This is not name calling. This is a malicious psychopath that's engaged in this criminal system and is targeting with Karen Bass, where the evidence showing the Los Angeles Police Department under a fake sun at Alvarado Gardens. That's a fire that was set earlier this year, and then the entity engaged in what is failing to handle that manufactured emergency. The gang stalkers whose homes were set on fire, they're doing so, putting those fires out on the news under the fake sun. My evidence showing what's remaining around me. This is what the entity is engaging in, maintaining an entirely corrupt system with regard to the public corruption that California is engaging in, while putting a contract on the life of an American citizen. This is what Gavin Newsom is responsible for. This is what he's directly engaged in. This is what he has been doing the entire time that he's in office, as I'm showing you what every corrupt mayor that Paul Leon represents, and all the corrupt mayors that are exposed while I'm subject to targeting throughout the city, throughout the state, as I've exposed that, as I've been documenting it and publishing it. This is 2:12 p.m. where the fake sun is not going to be over the OVITT Family Community Library in a natural environment of remaining over me at the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue by the 60 freeway, and Ramada by Wyndham at 1841 East G Street by the 10 freeway, and at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. And the entities maintaining all of this presence of what is not the natural environment under any circumstances, and it's relevant to what is already also sitting on the record. Gavin Newsom is maintaining criminal surveillance on the internet, criminal surveillance via communication devices, criminal surveillance while a system of surveillance amongst a demonic entity, which he is a part of. All right, remember, this is not only criminal, this is a specific type of criminal activity that the demon-possessed are maintaining. And this is what Gavin Newsom is responsible for. And this demon wants to be the president. This demon is associated with Kamala Harris, who failed in her run for presidency. She is associated with the state of California, has long been engaged in public corruption as well. All right, I just want to make sure, because this is all relevant with regard to what I'm exposing. This is P.O.C. It's 2:13 p.m.
All right, that is impossible light activity inside of the office above where the child care sign is. It's demonic. It's also evidence of surveillance. It's 2:18 p.m. Go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's engineer light over here. And this is engineer light. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. This is light that's inexplicable light that's not going to, where's that coming from? This is the entity that's monitoring. All right, and the fake sun is directly over the top of my head. This is P.O.C., where the entity is stalking with light in that manner. The entity is engaged in criminal surveillance with the immigrant population. This is a government venue. Is there a restroom that I can use?
Yes, ma'am. It's over there.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think they're supposed to be coming. This is the fake sun. Right? It has nothing to do with the engineered light that's on the floor. Thank you. That's audible activities monitoring. That's engineer light. You see their shadows? That's demonic. It's impossible light. They are systematically monitoring while they're coming in. This is the 1627 West Holt. The fake sun is over me on June 6, 2025 in the morning. And a history of this office targeting me. I'm doing so with the Ontario Police Department as well, and doing so with the Ontario International Airport. This is public corruption, and this is occurring under the watch of Gavin Newsom, who is engaged in surveillance throughout the state of California and the entirety of the state of California, including the governor and every mayor. The entire population are engaging in what is contracting and conspiring my murder, which is government business. This is state action that the state of California is engaged in. This is P.O.C. It is, again, 2:20 p.m. There's no sun over Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue, right? The sun's not over the OVITT Family Community Library, and that has nothing to do with sunlight. Okay, stalking with light is demonic. Not only is Gavin Newsom corrupt, not only is the entire state of California corrupt, this is exposing public corruption with the civilian population. This is demonic. This is P.O.C. This is impossible light activity on the ceiling. It's demonic. The light disappearing and appearing. It was gone. I took a picture. It was gone. And now it's back. It's never naturally occurring anyway. That's impossible light reaching into underneath the structure. And there's the fake sun. Okay? The fake sun has nothing to do with the impossible light that's on the inside of the building. And by the way, when you open the door, your shadow doesn't appear naturally like that on the ceilings. Okay, and they're monitoring in furtherance of murder. And this is a government building which is associating, letting you not associating, it's exposing Gavin Newsom's engagement as a domestic terrorist in the state of California, over the state of California, as a corrupt governor, and the corrupt politicians, including Paul Leon and all the levels of government, as the city of Ontario is engaged in the pattern of conduct with the civilian population. Demons that are coming in to engage in criminal surveillance, not actually legitimate interest in receiving services from the Transitional Assistance Office. It is currently 2:35 p.m. This is the fake sun that's over me at this same venue at 10 o'clock in the morning, as I'm documenting on June 6, 2025. And that's also how you know that this is a stalker, doing so pursuant to what is a targeting system. And they're targeting in furtherance. So this is a co-conspirator to murder. And this is, again, under the corrupt leadership of Gavin Newsom, 8ZUD346, and Paul Leon's criminal engagement, Mike Lorenz's criminal engagement, Michael GERKEN's criminal engagement, Alan D. WAPNER's criminal engagement, the people of the state, Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac fills the solicitation via gang stalking. This is a statewide system. Gavin Newsom's engaged in what is murdering American citizens, targeting them in the state of California. This is why a government building like the TAD office is engaged in what is targeting me. And that is proven not only in the specific environment, but the environment that's inside of the office which is associated with the state of California, San Bernardino County. No coincidence that they're engaged in criminal defamation. Look at this logo, because this is the logo that's engaged in criminal defamation, kidnapping with the Ontario Police, San Bernardino County Sheriff. That is doing so in furtherance of what is murder. This is the prosecution of the U.S. government, Gavin Newsom. This is revealing what is corruption based on what are murdering, systematic murder, organized crime. And this is public corruption throughout the state of California, as the state of California is directly at the center of state surveillance committed to murder that person that is being targeted by the government, by the county, by the state. That's what the TAD office represents, and that's what the TAD office has been doing for years, by the way. This is P.O.C. The entity is concentrating plane activity right here, but yet it's taken off over the Ontario Town Square. That's where you're paying attention to what is over me as well, the fake sun. This is the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, and it is exposing a gang stalking governor and all of the gang stalking mayors that fill the state of California. Every gang stalking corrupt law enforcement agency throughout the state of California, and you have seen a plethora of them throughout Southern California as I have placed them in the body of evidence, showing how they are together conspiring as an entire state, the public entity that is engaging in what is in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, targeting an American citizen, referred to as the satanic system of gang stalking. And it is the of the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. All right, the entity's engaging in this, and they're not circling over the OVITT Family Community Library while the fake sun is over that venue. They are targeting, they're stalking in the path, and the sun is not over Starbucks where they committed kidnapping together. Ocean and every gang stalker that engaged in kidnapping on July 4th, they're going to federal prison, which shall be how you are legislating and how you are federally prosecuting the government that is placing contracts on the lives of American citizens and then kidnapping them, like Starbucks, the corporation, committed on July 4th, 2025. That's P.O.C. That's a demon, and that's stalking with light. It's the exercise of the outward demonstration of mental illness. And they're all stalking with light while a fake sun is over me in this same manner at 10 in the morning as I documented getting on the bus on June 6, 2025. And I want to be clear, this illusion regarding blacks being subject to oppression by law enforcement while blacks in California, including Tracy Banks, is engaged in what is targeting with corrupt law enforcement agencies. This is the pattern of conduct. Black Lives Matter is nothing other than a part of what is an ongoing distraction regarding a satanic means of targeting, and it supersedes race. Okay, the demon possessed of all races are targeting together. 9BCS 947, this is P.O.C. These are the co-conspirators of murder, and that's how the people of the state are going to be prosecuted. This is P.O.C. All right, if you'll recall, at 8:24 a.m., the entity is keeping the fake sun over me at the United States Postal Service, and then I capture what is gang stalking at the United States Postal Service, established by this, right? But also the impossible light, that ongoing corner of impossible light activity, just like you saw inside of the government building, which is the TAD office that's associated with the San Bernardino County, the state of California, the United States Postal Service. This is the federal government at 8:24 a.m. and what is 3:05 p.m. This is the entity that is gang stalking. This is where the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking as well, while they're flying over me, stalking in that identifiable environment. And it's relevant, legally relevant, and it's also relevant regarding the implications of the surveillance system that I'm exposing, the government that conspired my murder and has been engaged in gang stalking in furtherance of murder for years, and doing so with Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, who are engaged in what is soliciting this. And this is, again, the criminal conduct, the corruption of Gavin Newsom. All right, Paul Leon is in position for over 20 years, engaging in this system, every level of government, every department engaging in this, and this is Gavin Newsom's exposure as a corrupt governor, a corrupt official. All right, this is the ongoing state surveillance that Gavin Newsom is, again, at the helm of. He is a domestic terrorist. All right, this is P.O.C. It is 3:06 p.m. at 1555 East Holt Boulevard, where FedEx, who is a gang stalker, again, outside of what are the parameters of the tracking, this is targeting. It's not just a late package. This is the entity that is engaging in what is monitoring, engaging. These are the methods of harassment and discrimination and singling out, being isolated, while FedEx and the United States Postal Service, the entity is monitoring and keeping what is a package with regard to what should have been delivered delivered before now, and the entity is engaging what is just holding on to it. This is nothing other than what I would be doing, documenting. These are the petty tactics. So, but I'm going to prosecute FedEx. FedEx is, and the United States Postal Service. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking through the couriers in the United States. Amazon Prime, UPS, FedEx, the United States Postal Service. They're engaged in state surveillance. This is P.O.C. All right, monitoring, license 7SIP287, 9PCE560, 96192, handicap, license 8CMC271, license TV59719, looks like a VA truck. License 9BDJ294, 7AGN931, 7VYW003, G812S1, 7RAV386, 7XIN633. These are the demons that are at 155 East Holt Boulevard at the United States Postal Service, where the federal government is gang stalking with the people of the state. They're doing so pursuant to the fake sun that's over the post office, the same post office where it's over me, and also where the post office is stalking, monitoring, and terrorizing and psychologically torturing me with impossible light inside of that post office, and that's on video during the 8 a.m. hour. It is 3:12 p.m. and the demons are coming into the post office and maintaining any manner of noise while they're coming in and shipping off their mail. It's audible activity in this specific environment. That's the parking lot full of demons that are gang stalking with the federal government, because that's what the United States Postal Service represents. It's P.O.C. It's 3:12 p.m. (9BUH160) co-conspirator to murder, gang stalking, license 8BIB944, co-conspirator to murder, license 29415Y1. These are the demons that are walking in, coming in, maintaining a method of noise, pacing in and out of the entrance while the fake sun's over 1555 East Holt, while the entity is intentionally also gang stalking by FedEx on the roads and the highways, while FedEx is intentionally, again, like I stated, monitoring while not delivering a package in a timely manner. It's not merely bad customer service. It's not what is the entity that's engaging in anything other. Coincidentally, it's a method of monitoring while FedEx is pacing on Holt Boulevard and the demons are pacing in and out, engaging in monitoring. This is that's psychological torture, by the way. That's a torture tactic, and FedEx is going to be prosecuted. This is what the entity is doing. They're all co-conspiring in murder, including FedEx, the company, including the United States Postal Service, including these demons whose license plates I'm reciting, TH74447. They're co-conspiring in murder while they share in psychological torture and gang stalking. License plate. This is exactly why Tracy Banks wanted the state of California. This is what Gavin Newsom is engaged in, conspiring the murder of American citizens while he is in that position of governorship. License 8CMC271.
This is literally exposing a public official such as Gavin Newsom conspiring the murder of an American citizen whom he is criminally keeping under surveillance, and every official in the state is sharing in this statewide system. And this is what one of the tactics that they engage in: harassment, terrorism. Everyone's coming in and noisily putting their mail. It's audible activity under the fake sun, where all of an entity knows where I'm at, and they're also sex offenders monitoring my vagina. That's associated with the United States Postal Service. Okay, that's associated with FedEx. While they have this impossible, ridiculous light activity coming to deliver their mail and coming to pick up their mail, these are demons that are gang stalking. The homosexuals molesting with impossible light, the homosexuals stalking in the bathroom, the demons that are stalking with the male counterparts in the opposite restroom, because they're all stalking together under a whole fake environment. That fake environment is relevant to engineered light, where surveillance and for presence is relevant for surveillance to be underway. All right, that's P.O.C. This is the conspiracy to commit murder, where you're engaging in psychological torture as an entity. And Gavin Newsom is engaging in this, and he has been since his date in office, and the demon before him in office is engaging in what is California's organized crime of executing American citizens, killing them by targeting them, and targeting them before before their lives are taken, before their identity is stolen, and before they're defamed, targeted by the corrupt government. It is currently 3:17 p.m. This is P.O.C. at 1555 East Holt Boulevard. This is U.S.P.S. that's engaged in gang stalking. That's the federal government. Just FYI, P.O.C. These are demons digging in to attend the loudest mail drop ever under the fake sun. Let me read you this co-conspirator to murder again. The moment that I start recording that loud dumpster drop into a mail bin, it immediately stops. That's a demon stalk with activity. License 8CLR056. And this particular terrorist that's coming into the the post office to engage in criminal activity with the federal government is license 7JDN672. The fake sun is over the top of my head while the entity maintains what is harassment, and this harassment is serving what is criminal monitoring, and this is the conduct of demons. This is why the USPS, this office, had engineered light in the corner inside of this mail area, as I documented on video. That's why it is there, and that's also why the fake sun is still in the same position that it is that I documented days ago at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 3:20 in the afternoon, 8JGN090, and based on what the demon possessed do in a readily identifiable environment for anyone to remove a governor that's engaging in targeting American citizens and conspiring against their lives and their livelihoods, you are going to recognize this environment, which is the criminal activity of the government that is also maliciously acting with a population who are not private citizens. They're not operating any of those constitutional rights while they are gang stalking in this specific environment with that government. And that's what the United States Postal Service is doing with the people of the state. It's going to be prosecuted also as what is ordinary harassment. And it's very targeted harassment. It is currently 3:21 p.m. at 1555 East Holt Boulevard. Demons are stalking in the path by maintaining lines, waiting to speak to the employees of USPS while demons are pacing in and out, using the mail drop as a means of extraordinarily loud audible activity, while the fake sun is over the roof of 1555 East Holt Boulevard, where I'm positioned on the property, which is a facilitating venue, and the entity is engaging in what is stalking with all manner of activity creation based on what it is that I do. They're also engaging in psychological torture, as FedEx is the demonic company rather, operated by demons, who are pacing while the entity is aware of the fact that they're monitoring, while FedEx is intentionally not arriving pursuant to its time published to deliver the package, okay? The entity's engaging in that while this is a 2-day delivery. And I'm also going to go ahead and document the packaging information. It is, by the way, the entity that is targeting with Alaska Airlines, that's taking off not only over the 280 North Limit Apartments, but taking off over 1486 East Holt Boulevard right now at 3:22 p.m. That's not going to be published on the Ontario National website pursuant to what is any departure from the terminals, okay? They're taking off right here. That's not a takeoff from the airport where you would be rising in elevation. At 1486, the entity would be already high up in the sky. Alaska Airlines is targeting. And you know that because the fake sun is over the same address it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. Alaska Airlines is another corrupt company engaged in what is the corrupt government that Gavin Newsom is
in leadership over, which is revealing what's going on in the United States. The United States is engaging in what is domestic terrorism and targeting American citizens, and doing so in order to steal from them. This is what the entity has conspired against me, and stealing from me is accomplished through murdering me. And this is what the government, that is again under the specific name Gavin Newsom, where I'm located in Ontario, Paul Leon, and every function of the government and every person in that within that entity, that is every family, everyone. That's why I'm documenting every city that's engaging in this pattern of conduct. And it is punctuated by a whole fake sun that remains over me no matter where I go, no matter what direction I travel, no matter how long I'm there. That's the pattern of conduct. That's where the entity is conspiring murder. The entity is gang stalking. I want to be clear, FedEx is targeting pursuant to a 2-day shipment that was scheduled for delivery for today. Yes, the entity has until 5 p.m. That's the black and white agreement. The entity is routinely engaging what is providing you a timeline, and for convenience of customers, engaging what is delivering when you're not subject to targeting, by the way. When the entity is also engaging what is coexisting with not ordinarily just delayed delivery. FedEx is particularly gang stalking by pacing in alignment to me under the fake sun while the demons are monitoring, and at the post office where I'm accepting this delivery, FedEx is targeting also by refraining from timely delivery, which is a means of harassment and targeting as well. Just want to be clear on that. This is the government. The government is the one that's delivering this package as well, and FedEx is also the government. FedEx is a third party. The tracking ID is 39257-338-2268, coming from Pembroke Pines, Florida, where the fake sun is speaking to what could never be a sun in Florida, while the entity has it over the post office from 8 a.m. until what is 3:24 p.m., which is never happening in a natural environment, which is also how you know that FedEx is specifically targeting me, and so is the entity in Ontario at 1555 East Holt Boulevard. The entity is engaging in this is FedEx 2-day, that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, okay? This is P.O.C. This is showing the illusion of how businesses operate, of how government is operating, how the people of the state and how everyday life and civilization is supposedly operating. And this is giving you what is the reality regarding that illusion and regarding how the entity is targeting it in all manner and outside of what is actually supposed to be the boundaries and the laws, even in policies, and ordinarily just prudent practices of even companies while they're engaging in targeting. Okay, it's currently 3:25 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the United States Postal Service. 8XZH392. Let me make sure I get all that. Okay, P.O.C. And pursuant to the pattern of conduct, and you're looking at the sheer numerosity, everywhere that I'm going, this is a population that is stalking, and this is the increase in business, and that's why the line is getting longer and longer, the parking lot is getting fuller and fuller, and you also see my shadow that's appearing on the inside of the United States Postal Service in what is engineered light. This is the same pattern of conduct inside of the San Bernardino County TAD office. That's another government state facilitating venue, exposing what is corruption, exposing what is criminal surveillance committed in furtherance of murder. This is the entity that's gone to these far extents to target me, and this is also relevant to the mass amount of sex offenders that fill the state of California who are secretly engaging in state surveillance as well. This is exposing what you need to know as far as the entity that's engaging in this malicious system. You have closeted homosexuality, you have closeted mental illness, you have what is closeted criminal activity as well, organized crime that is underway by the governor, that is Gavin Newsom, underway by the government. The United States Postal Service is also acting in concert with the City of Ontario. Every department is engaging in the pattern of conduct, as the City of Ontario has shown you. While all I have to do is show my camera, there's no way that I could make it up, and then the entity engaging in the very conduct itself. These are the demons that are indeed targeting in furtherance of murder. And the impossible light that's showing my shadow on the inside of 1555 East Holt Boulevard is within a pattern of conduct where the United States Postal Service is targeting and has been targeting with a statewide pattern of conduct in furtherance of committing murder. Right? Engaging what is oppressing an American citizen in furtherance of murder. Okay? Engaging in what is harassing and psychologically torturing an American citizen in furtherance of murder, and criminally facilitating all of the above in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder. And this is a government program. This is what Gavin Newsom is at the head of. This is why the Ontario Police Department acts with the impunity that I have documented, and it's also relevant for the federal government to address corruption, terrorist leaders like Gavin Newsom, like Paul Leon, like Mike Lorenz. You're talking about from the top down. And this is what the federal government is engaged in. Gavin Newsom is, again, you're not engaged in this corruption, and the federal government doesn't know it. I've already exposed how the federal government, which the United States Postal Service represents, is engaged in targeting. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the United States Postal Service, and then you are aware of, again, just giving you another example of what the Southwest Airlines is doing while the fake sun is over the Ontario Town Square and over the OVITT Family Community Library. There's only one sun. So the sun that's over the United States Postal Service while you are stalking, that's the signature, speaking to you're stalking everywhere that I'm going, you're stalking from place to place. That is a company that's acting in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder. Like I stated this morning, in the same city where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking, as I'm publishing evidence during the 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. hour, and Southwest Airlines is gang stalking, flying over my head as I get off of the Omnitrans bus, which was Route 83 at the intersection, which is north of the same HOLT Boulevard that I'm on right now. Southwest Airlines is gang stalking by hovering over 1486 West HOLT. And so this is the entity. You're flying miles away to be hovering over the Ontario Town Square. I'm closer to the airport than the Ontario Town Square is. This is the entity this is, again, the very plain, obvious. All I'm doing is showing you the fact that they're targeting, and then you're looking at all the ways in which you are looking at the logistical ways in which targeting is necessarily underway. You're not doing anything but flying miles away from the airport and then hovering over the property where I'm at, where the fake sun is over me. All right. And that is also obvious because the sun is not going to stay over one property, over one city, one street in one city for 12 hours, for 10 hours, not even for 3 hours. Okay, Florida is 3 hours ahead of us. So it's 6:31 p.m. in Florida right now, but the fake sun is sitting over the building that I've been present at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the fake sun is still over me at that property. This is where a population is coming to the post office to act in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder by engaging in an ongoing, unabated program of psychological torture and harassment, and they are the demon-possessed in doing so. And the federal government, that is the United States Postal Service, is sharing in that. Okay, it is currently, again, 3:31 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, 7ZL Y475, 8WLA 856, 8TEC 307, KVL Heart CVL, 7VYW003, 5JZJ275. The impossible light that you'll see that is above on the upper portion of the wall has moved to a downward, and you'll see me capturing images of that 3:42 p.m. This is, again, the train activity under the fake sun they're monitoring, H3A30W, Arizona, and that's Union Pacific. Not the plate, that audible activity of the train. Union Pacific's engaged in state surveillance. On the roads and the highways with regard to the use of trains, it is interstate commerce, but that Union Pacific also is gang stalking on the roads and the highways. I've documented them with license plates. 6JLP799, 8WHC051, 8ZNA405, 8BGP031. These are a bunch of pathetic demons, but these are murderers. Understand this pathetic nonsense, which is a whole pattern of conduct with regard to demons who sit around stalking one person, harassing that person, and psychologically torturing them while they're using witchcraft and tormenting them. They're doing it to murder that person. These are mentally ill psychopaths who derive pleasure from tormenting one person together. And it's a government system. Gavin Newsom is fully engaged in it. 8JGN090. The state of California is full of demons who profit off of the murder of American citizens. It's called a sacrifice. 23893N3, and these demons thought that they were going to sacrifice me for my money and my property. Not only is that not going to happen, you need to know the names of all the demons who are in office, all the demons who are celebrities, people that you idolize, which you shouldn't be doing in the first place, and you really shouldn't, because you know that they're demon-possessed, gang-stalking psychopaths, they're pedophiles and serial killers. License 8LDH613. And the entity has ridiculous light activity, impossible light activity inside of the United States Postal Service. And all the demons that work for the United States Postal Service in those vehicles, wearing those uniforms, they're also heavily documented. And the entirety, the postmaster is engaged in state surveillance, okay? This is the P.O.C., and that demonic pattern of conduct is the conclusive evidence. It's not merely relevant evidence. It's not circumstantial. And when the prosecution of the U.S. government is underway in a courtroom, this is direct evidence. That environment is present. Now, because of that supernatural manner, a character of that evidence, that's speaking to what is highly probative evidence of what is exactly proving surveillance. And surveillance is underway by a government against an American citizen that the government has conspired to kill, to steal from by killing them and kidnapping them.
That's what's relevant at 1555 East Hope Boulevard. And Engineer Light is filling, and there's a line of customers who are third parties, who are also demons, who are gang stalking. All right? This is P.O.C. and FedEx engaging in what is harassment. The delay in receipt of my package, where somebody paid, the government is the one that's sending me a package, by the way. It's a phone, and I don't have any secrets, so it is what it is. The government's sending a phone, and the government paid for a 2-day delivery. And what you're also knowing is, with regard to the illusion of the system, FedEx is not a private company. FedEx is a government as well. Okay, FedEx is targeting me, and these are the all the ways in which, and you're understanding what is not petty, because when you have millions of people that are together engaging petty tactic here, petty tactic there, it's not petty. In the aggregate, you're understanding what is ongoing, incessant harassment by an entity. Engaging in what is just coming in and making a bunch of noise in the Engineer Light at the post office. Thousands of people coming in and doing that all day long, because that's all they're doing. And this is the entity that is making money. So you have Starbucks, which is promoting gang stalking, facilitating it, while the demons come in engaging in surveillance and harassment all day long. With the impossible light activity, with the ongoing stalking with amplified noise, and there are a bunch of demons engaging in a satanic means of targeting someone in a way that, oh, no one's supposed to even know. And if you even say anything, you're supposed to look crazy, and the demon-possessed derive pleasure out of that. These are actually psychopathic personalities. They're satanic. All right. And this is that which they're doing. They derive pleasure from until they take the life of an American citizen. They want to see that person dead. They are benefiting off of it. And they also want to see that person's life ruined. Hence defamation, hence kidnapping. The government has to defame you before the government keeps you against your will. This is definitely and only state action. The government is the one that's committing that kidnapping. The government relies on the entity to engage in criminal summoning. All right, the government's the one that's engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct, and the government is going to be the one that's going to be prosecuted for the conspiracy to murder American citizens whom they are keeping under surveillance. All right, it's not just surveillance with regard to technology. These are demons who are monitoring. And that impossible light activity, that's letting you know with regard to the federal government that's practicing satanic means of targeting an American citizen. And where you're ignorant of that environment, all you're seeing is a buildup of customers in line who are all supposed to be minding their business. Ignorant, the illusion of strangers. All right, you're ignorant about the fake sun that's there at 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're ignorant of all of that. But with knowledge of all of the details that are legally relevant, legally and factually, logically relevant, you are revealing and removing all of those illusions regarding public corruption, regarding how American citizens in this country are murdered. And then the government also controls the narrative, having it reported on the news as something anonymously occurring to be investigated, to be solved, to be resolved. And by who? The Ontario Police Department, that's going to then conduct an investigation about what happened to the targeted individual, all right, that they are depicting as mentally ill, while they were targeting them, engaging in psychological torture the whole time. Do you understand how malicious that is, to psychologically torture someone and then also claim that they're mentally ill? Oh, the entity is engaging in what is a psychological torture in anticipation of an American citizen engaging in behavior that they will then create the illusion of mental illness. And that is absurd, and it's wildly corrupt. And it is the criminal conduct of those that are in the medical field. You need to understand that. And it's government action. It's a state system. This is what Gavin Newsom is engaging in. All right, you don't have the pattern of conduct happening at the DMV. Pay attention, that documentation is coming up. It's in April of 2022. You don't have the pattern of conduct underway at the Glendale DMV. I documented it already in 2024. All right, the entity is engaging, it's already up on the internet, in other words. What I documented in the past, the entity has engaged in kidnapping me several times, and my evidence has been stolen from me, and I am publishing all of that which I experienced, which the entity has inflicted upon me, and I'm putting it all on the internet, and the government is going to be exposed. And the government is engaged in targeting me very aggressively because of its fear regarding what is documented, what happened in 2022. I want to be clear. S. Patty, amongst others, engaged in kidnapping in July of 2022. She's going to federal prison. She's going to federal prison. Okay? She's going to federal prison. She engaged in kidnapping on more than one occasion, and in July of 2022 is the last time that she engaged in kidnapping, putting her hands on me, physically attacking me, and putting her hands on me with her partner. Arnold, I believe is his name. The entity stole all of my evidence, stole my phones, didn't get any of it when I was released from kidnapping in January of 2023. She's going to federal prison. This gang stalking by the Ontario Police, and then you've got somebody that committed kidnapping, not an arrest, not a lawful arrest under any circumstances. And on top of that, they're demons. She's going to federal prison, okay? That's what you're witnessing while the United States Postal Service is targeting me at 1555 East Hope Boulevard, P.O.C. 9KGN 478. License 6ZSK505. And just like that, the fake sun's no longer sitting over the same post office that it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's still remaining over me on the same street, however, targeting. And the entity is keeping that fake sun over me while I leave that venue, speaking to what is a statewide pattern of conduct. And guess who's going to federal prison? This demon's name is S. Patty. All right? She has the nerve to have children, I believe a spouse. While she's a whole domestic terrorist, she's going to federal prison and she's watching it happen. She's watching it happen, as all of them are. On a day-by-day basis, you're watching it progress into what is an inevitable demise. You're going to federal prison. And guess what? You're not getting out. You aren't getting out since you engaged in the pattern of conduct. And the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. with regard to, Omnitrans, that's engaging in what is harassment. That's a petty act of harassment by Omnitrans who's crossing paths. Omnitrans is gang stalking. That's Alan D. WAPNER. These are the tactics of entity. You're gang stalking by harassing by a demon-possessed bus driver. I'm prosecuting that whole bus line, first of all. And guess what? S. Patty's still going to federal prison. She's going to federal prison. You can sing it with me. Because she's going to federal prison and she's not getting out. And guess who's going with her? Her co-defendant, Tracy Banks. Guess who else is going with her? Alex Escobar. Guess who else is going? Oh, L. Edwards. He's going to federal prison. Jason 19. Nobody forgot. You're going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison while the entity has a fake sun over me at the United States Postal Service. While Gavin Newsom is targeting American citizens in the state of California, engaging in state surveillance, which is what the city of Ontario is engaging in Ontario, where the whole fake sun. In every other city, it's nowhere else. It's on one street. That's how you know what Gavin Newsom is. That's how you know what Gavin Newsom is engaged in. That's how you know what Gavin Newsom is facilitating and profiting from. While he comes to Southern California gang stalking with Karen Bates, showing incompetence that they advertised themselves. They set those fires, and then they failed in putting them out adequately. That's P.O.C., by the way. It is currently 3:52 p.m. S. Patty's going to federal prison, and the entity engages in what is a petty tactic of harassment by passing me by while a demon is monitoring via Omnitrans, the same Omnitrans where you saw the fake sun remaining in the window this morning before 8 o'clock a.m., and I'm in the same city. I'm in the same city and that fake sun is present. And that's also speaking to specific targeting by demons who are engaging in harassment on a bus line. And you're going to federal prison. That's all you got? You're going to prison, S. Patty. You're going to federal prison. Everybody that put their hands on me of the Ontario Police Department, every single last one of you are going to federal prison. Okay? Every single last one of you. Saying it with me. Federal prison. You're getting locked up. You're getting locked up. P.O.C. That's the people of the state stalking in the path. And this is the Ontario Town Square where they were gang stalking in the morning. So let me show you the same Ontario Town Square and the same fake sun. And this is after I left and went to the 1627 San Bernardino County office. This is where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking. This is where the entity is engaging in criminal monitoring as a system. This is public corruption that's just embedded into society. They're monitoring while they're holding an event. This is the fake sun that's at the same 224 North Euclid Avenue, and the Ontario Police is flying over my head at the same address where they were flying circles around me while I was publishing evidence on the video of the internet about this entity that is gang stalking. This is demonic, and it's also criminal conduct. All right, that's Mike Lorenz. Again, gang stalking is underway, which Gavin Newsom is responsible for the corruption that I'm exposing that's happening in every city and in every county as you're looking at the template regarding how it is executed in the state of California. How all gang stalking, that is corrupt law enforcement agencies like Mike Lorenz of the Ontario Police, are engaging in surveillance and furtherance of murder. And while they are engaging in this criminal conspiracy, it has been exposed and they are keeping that evidence also under surveillance. That's relevant to the years in federal prison that every criminal monitoring, gang stalking, so-called police officer of the Ontario Police, that's relevant to their terms in federal prison. All right, they're gang stalking with the intent to psychologically torture and in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder. It's 6:13 p.m. where the entity is under a fake sun where I'm standing right there at this same wall where this is the clock. Where at 9:42 a.m. the Ontario Police were flying circles around me and they're flying over my head and I'm at the same venue. This is P.O.C. That's the same library where the fake sun is over. There's no natural environment that includes this. This is identifying the crime scene, and those are the fools that provide evidence against the entirety of the state and the governor, Gavin Newsom. All right, that's engaged in what is public corruption that is statewide. All right, this is organized crime that's underway in California, and the entities engaging in this while it is being exposed on the venue of the internet. This is federal stalking, as you're looking at in the sky space. This is an engineered environment. Presence and activity is how the demon-possessed are monitoring, and they're also using technology, which is, again, relevant to corrupt law enforcement. That's not policing, it's stalking and monitoring. It's surveillance. This is P.O.C. And the people of the state are in my face talking. That's what's relevant. His name is Carlos. He's monitoring. That's the second time. That's a pattern. But the entity is engaging in that with demons whose name you don't even know. But this is the pattern of conduct. That's called malice, while they're conspiring your murder and having pleasant conversations with you. That's the POC. It is currently 6:14 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over Starbucks, where this entity that's gang stalking by helicopter committed kidnapping at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the sun would also not be on the same street. But that's what I documented, where L. Edwards, Alex Escobar, and A. Quesada engaged in kidnapping pursuant to this state surveillance system, targeting me and then engaging in what is criminal summoning in order to kidnap, while they are hostile to this very evidence that they're keeping under surveillance. This is POC. It is currently 6:15 p.m. at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun and the gang stalking by the Ontario Police in concert with the people of the state is occurring on video at 9:42 a.m. POC. All right, this is psychological torture. The entity stalking with helicopter. Here you go, right here. And this is the Ontario Police that looks at the evidence about it. This is the state of California. I just want to be clear, Gavin Newsom is engaging in targeting. This is a statewide system, and this is where I'm showing you the fake sign is present right here in between the trees, where I took pictures of my shadow, just like inside of the post office. And this is a demon over here chit-chatting with the people of the state, gang stalking. This is POC. This is the entity, and this is exhibiting mental illness and malice. And all of this is unconstitutional as well. This is POC. It's audible activity. Light activity relevant. This is the same place where the fake sun is present at 7 in the morning. This is a demon. Okay. This is the Mike Lorenz's criminal conduct by a whole department, and this is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of kind of coming up a chit chat while the helicopter comes behind. That's called psychological torture. That's federal prison, and that's the smile of a demon. That's a psychopath. Those are the people of the state that are always stalking as an entity. They're gang stalking with the puppets of the Ontario Police. It is currently 6:53 p.m. where the entity is stalking with a light source at the same venue that it was at 9 in the morning, or the same venue where I'm showing you the sunrise at 7 in the morning. And this is the entity that's keeping that fake sun while that demon comes specifically. He's pacing, he's monitoring. That's a demon. And this is the entity that's going to be disbanded. All right. This is L. Edwards that engaged in kidnapping at 7:15 in the morning on this same street. L. Edwards is going to federal prison for his demon-possessed partner who doesn't have any self-control, incriminating that entire agency that's targeting. Engaging what is being right here next to me while the helicopter flies behind. That's psychological torture that they're going to federal prison for. This is what an entity commits in furtherance of murder as well. And they're engaging in these sorts of this sort of chicanery with the people of the state who are all engaging in criminal conduct together under a fake sun. This is 224 North Euclid Avenue. That demon shadow just appeared over here. So let me show you what is stalking with light. While demons that are black-faced, talking about Black Lives Matter. This is stalking. And this is what Southwest Airlines was doing this morning while the fake on the same street, where a demon-possessed gang stalker of the Ontario Police, they're all going to federal prison, and you're going to use the evidence against each other while you're showing how they're all stalking under a fake sun, stalking me. That demon went to the Ontario Town Square. This is where the Ontario Town Square was. That's where Southwest Airlines was stalking as I got off of Route 83. This is the exact same place where I was at B Street, where the entity had the fake sun, and then that demon stands up behind me, chit-chatting, cheesing and grinning at the demon-possessed people of the state monitoring me, while the fake sun is at the same exact 224 North Euclid Avenue that it was this morning, where Southwest Airlines was stalking while that fake sun was over me, standing right here on the opposite side of this same street, where the sun would not rise and set at one location on one strip of the street, and where Delta Airlines and UPS's gang stalking at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, 2301 South Euclid Avenue at the Economy, and that's the same Euclid Avenue. This is the same street where that demon, cheesing from ear to ear, pacing on video, where the entity engages in psychological torture, smiling in your face, talking to someone else, keeping their back to you, while the entity is engaging in this ominous stalking in a helicopter. Those are the demons that are being disbanded. They're obsessed with my vagina. They're conspiring murder. They're incentivizing criminal conduct and mentally ill behaviors of stalking a woman and engaging in sexual violence and conspiracy to commit murder together. The Ontario police are being disbanded, and they're gang stalking just like the Ontario International Airport is. That's why they're engaging in this stupidity on video, flying in a U-turn right here over me, stalking me where they were all stalking as an entity, which Gavin Newsom is being exposed while I'm in Ontario, showing how the pattern of conduct is underway in the state of California. And these demons, these idiots, are under a fake sun on one street at one property. That's P.O.C. It is currently 7:28 p.m. and what do we have? The fake moon right over me where the fake sun remained on one street all day long. Those are the demons that are putting each other in the appropriate facilities. I'm going to use the evidence against each other, against all of them while they're targeting. That's P.O.C. And you're paying attention to this, what they were doing on Holt Boulevard, taking off at the venue right there where the fake sun was at 1627. So if you're taking off from the airport, you're not even going to be hovering. You're not going to hear it. The entity is doing so while I'm capturing video. That's monitoring the communication device in the engineered environment. That's P.O.C. And they're doing so with regard to this impunity in furtherance of a conspiracy to commit murder. Okay, that's P.O.C. This is Alan D. Wapner. The Ontario Police Department is Mike Lorenz. This is all happening under Gavin Newsom, conspiring to murder American citizens. This is the organized crime of federal group stalking and monitoring, gang stalking, entirely demonic. P.O.C. That's Alan D. Wapner acting with impunity, conspiring the murder of an American citizen while on video, stalking in plane after plane after plane on the street where the sun was rising and setting and where the fake moon is over me on the same street. That's speaking to mental illness. The mentally ill are the ones that are gang stalking. The mentally ill are the ones that are sitting in office, and you refer to them as officials such as governor and mayor, etc. This is P.O.C. and they're demons. This is public corruption. A population full of sex offenders. P.O.C. Alrighty, here is again the state stalking with commercial planes. This is clearly not any takeoff or arrival from the airport. They're flying in alignment to my location, which is Laurel and Holt Boulevard, where I showed you the fake sun, 123 West Holt Boulevard, over me at 123 West Holt Boulevard. The indicative of the targeting that's also underway by the entity. This is the government engaging in stalking in commercial planes. This is relevant to the mental illness that the entity that is stalking me suffers from, and it's a threat to the public. This is Alan D. Wapner. That's keeping me under surveillance while the airlines are using their planes to engage in surveillance. This is what Gavin Newsom is definitely engaged in and is aware of and is presiding over. All right, this is P.O.C. Gavin Newsom is very much engaged in a system full of terrorism using the airports throughout the cities. In every city and every police department, every law enforcement agency are engaged in criminal surveillance, not law enforcement. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:45 p.m. This is Laurel and Holt, where there's no planes taking off here either. Neither are they doing U-turns in the middle of the sky space, arriving at the airport and then doing a U-turn, a donut, and taking back off, engaging in what is hovering throughout the city. All of that's the P.O.C. and this is impossible light activity. You see them? That's not headlights. These are demons. This is an environment where it's conducive for monitoring. And they're all obsessed with my vagina. The entity, the government, the population that's engaging in surveillance is a violent sex offender. Okay? And it includes the corrupt law enforcement agency, Ontario Police, who are being disbanded. That's P.O.C. No headlights cause that sort of light activity. The trash can back here is appearing on there and it's moving across the wall. My shadow, multiple shadows. This is the light activity that they're stalking under and under the fake sun that's over my head as well, which is how you know 8FWX653 is a co-conspirator to murder, engaging in psychological torture as a population, stalking as an entity, targeting with the intent to steal. This is what Tracy Banks and Jason Hazelfield solicited. This is what Gavin Newsom is engaging in as a corrupt governor. This is what Paul Leon is engaging in as a corrupt mayor. And this is public corruption. Okay, every level of government in the state is engaged in state surveillance. And, okay, headline news, again, it's demonic. This is P.O.C. All right, you're looking at the conflicting shadows and the shadow that's coming toward me. These are demons, and this is engineer light. It's not their headlights. This is an illusion. You're getting past the illusion. They're also presenting an illusion to you when the fake sun's over me, and they're all pacing around me. This is a satanic ritual. They're pacing around the one that they're conspiring to murder. I'm going to prosecute the state of California, and public officials conspiring my murder are being removed from office, and they are not accepted from a federal prosecution. This is Alan D. Wapner conspiring my murder while planes are falling. This is Mike Lorenz conspiring my murder while helicopters in that police department is kidnapping and following, stalking, harassing, and threatening. That's the pattern of conduct. All right, and that's unlawful conduct for which there shall be a federal prosecution, and bodies are going in federal prison. Bodies, people are going to be federally confined. This is P.O.C. at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue, 7:47 p.m. This is an entity of demons. This is demonic activity. This is mental illness that's no longer closeted either. P.O.C.
Okay, license 9NZL 399, 8TJN 83. I can't really see that one. You can scratch that one. It is, by the way, 7:48 p.m. And just like I documented this morning, while I'm at the intersection of Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue under a fake sun during the 7 a.m. hour, on the same street, this is a population that is proven to be targeting as that environment indicates. That is an inevitable conclusion that you will also inevitably reach when you're looking at that supernatural character. And you're also recognizing it with regard to where you're at. Compare it to where you are at in Texas. Compare it to where you are at in Nebraska. Compare it to where you are at in, excuse me, Utah. And like I often like to use Florida, because while the fake sun is over me and you're 3 hours ahead, Florida, that's not a sun that's over you, the same object. The entity is maintaining the light source and it's stationary while the entity is pacing, and it appears on the surface to be traffic. It appears on the surface to be everyday, normal lives. 9BBV281 is, however, a demon, and the ability to know that and their criminal engagement in a statewide pattern of conduct is proven through that environment, and their shared behavioral pattern, meaning they are stalking me with impossible light that is impossible to manifest by just driving your car. All right, in the same way that it's impossible that the sun would remain on one street, that the sun would remain in alignment to one person on one street, that the sun would be unique to one person as opposed to everybody else who's going in all multiple directions, but that sun remains over me as I document it. The entity is engaging in what is an unmistakable pattern of conduct, and the entity, I'm documenting what is targeting identified an environment, because the demon possessed who I'm documenting by license plate, just like I did this morning under the fake sun, they are doing so, first of all, under a fake moon, and they are doing so pursuant to a pattern of conduct of stalking with the government that employs, as you have seen, planes and helicopters. They're doing so while they are also targeting on the venue of the internet. That is, the stalker, the sex offender, the co-conspirator to murder is keeping the evidence that should have been a secret, a system. Not only is it not a secret, but the murderer, the co-conspirator to murder, is still stalking while they're looking at the evidence in real time. That's what the Ontario Police Department committed again today. That's relevant to the gang stalking demons of that department who are going to federal prison, and the malice and impunity with which they target me with regard to their investment in murder of the one whom they are gang stalking, because that's exactly what you're doing when you're gang stalking. You're acting in furtherance of murder. You are acting with an unlawful objective to take the life of an American citizen, and no less than that. And as you do that as an agency that wants to be mistaken for law enforcement, you're going to federal prison. Not only are they doing that, they're also engaging in kidnapping in furtherance of that intent to criminally defame in order to accomplish murder. The entity is engaging in this while the government, the entity itself, has stolen property, a substantial amount of money and property from me. And while I remain dispossessed, this is the conduct that the entity has been engaged in for years. It is a long-term investment. I've been documenting since 2018 this ongoing, ceaseless system of targeting while the entity has been engaged in what is repeated acts of kidnapping, because it's not an arrest when you're engaged in the pattern of conduct. It's also not an arrest when you're engaged in the pattern of conduct and you literally had to make up the criminal activity for which you committed a kidnapping. And that's what the Ontario Police Department have also engaged in. They're all going to federal prison. Every single last one that committed kidnapping, that facilitated kidnapping in the courts, that engaged in kidnapping with the Sheriff's Department, that engaged in it and facilitated as they are in the courts participating in criminal acts, which are fictitious prosecutions, while I am on the streets day and night documenting ongoing targeting. And it does not convert to a lawful act committed by a court. And it's also, there is no bifurcation, no separation, no division, no distinction with regard to the gang stalking that's happening on the roads and the highways outside in every facilitating venue. That courthouse is also facilitating venue, which, by the way, I've also documented. There's no distinction, no difference. And there will be, and it is legally relevant what the courts are doing with regard to ongoing gang stalking. KVNG JR7 is gang stalking as an entity. And by the way, all that demon does is park its vehicle on the grounds of a state facilitating venue, a court, to sit in what is the courtroom to engage in monitoring with the demon-possessed judges, the demon-possessed deputies, the demon-possessed officers of the court. Those are oxymorons which have to be dealt with under federal law. They have to. To address a demon-possessed gang stalker as a police officer is that's a tragedy. And that is something that responsible discourse is going to ensure does not happen, okay? The Ontario Police Department are not engaged in law enforcement. They're engaged in the conspiracy to murder someone. They're engaged in a malicious pattern of conduct of targeting, of criminal surveillance. It's not law enforcement. Criminal surveillance is not law enforcement. And the evidence has already proven that. And as they are proven, what did I document today? Look at my X, the Twitter, the X. You're looking at the entity gang stalking at 224 North Euclid Avenue at 9:24 a.m. You look at the next video. You're looking at the Ontario Police Department gang stalking at 224 North Euclid Avenue at 6:10 p.m. And look at the entity again. You're looking at the Ontario Police Department stalking me at the 224 North Euclid Avenue, and the fake sun in all three videos at the same property. That's the evidence of gang stalking. It's demonic. That environment is demonic, and the behavior designed to target one person as an entity, those are demon-possessed people. Demons act as groups. These are demon-possessed people that are a part of a corrupt law enforcement agency. And you also are aware of their demon possession by their presence in the environment. Okay? They are not like me. Meaning I'm in this environment because this entity is stalking me. This entity is stalking with that environment. They are maintaining this environment around me. They are maintaining their behavioral pattern around me that is stalking with noise and light and presence. With regard to every move that I make, and every move I'm making is with regard to documentation. So this is now the government that's keeping evidence against itself under surveillance, and in no federal cases any defendant going to do that. But that's what the entity, including the Ontario Police Department, has done as a serial pattern, a documented serial pattern, and that's also relevant to how many years you belong in prison for the unlawful threat to an American citizen while you kept them under surveillance in order to accomplish murdering them, and then tried to falsely depict their character as some sort of criminal or mentally insane person before you took their life. And you did it for money. There are no planes taking off from 2500 Airport Drive that would cause any sort of competition with my voice at the intersection of Euclid Avenue and HOLT, where I've also documented the fake sunrise and the fake sunset. That's the entity that is gang stalking, okay? These are a band of demons who are listening to the evidence as I documented, and this is also the impunity. That impunity is relevant to how bloodthirsty they are, to how maniacal they are, to how criminal and perverted they are, how psychopathic they are with regard to being serial killers, who routinely engage in targeting American citizens, who engage in ordinarily getting away with murdering them and falsely depicting the character of those whom they murder and kidnap. That's relevant to the activity that you're hearing right now, because they're monitoring pursuant to what it is that I do. And what I'm doing right now is referring to very specific criminal acts that you saw with your own eyes. With regard to what is also direct evidence, hard evidence, and probative evidence of what is targeting by the state, specifically the Ontario Police. And the entity that is gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking on behalf of that entirety of that state, including the Ontario Police. They're sharing the same pattern of conduct. Southwest Airlines, the Ontario International Airport, is gang stalking in that same delusional and very highly imprudent manner in that same exact environment. And again, doing so during the same duration of time where the sun would not be in Florida over you, and also remaining over 224 North Euclid Avenue from 9:24 until after 6:30 p.m. That's where the entity is flying over my head by commercial planes, and that's the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. And that is Alan D. WAPNER, for example, to put a name on the domestic terrorist that has put a contract on my life in order to accomplish targeting me and psychologically torturing. And when that doesn't work, Alan D. WAPNER commits more documented acts of terrorism. Stalking with commercial planes, it does not become any less targeting. It does not become any less foolish with regard to what's not having anything to do with arrival and departures, because Alan D. WAPNER maintains ongoing flights over my head throughout the city as I document it, because that is the idiotic mindset of the demon-possessed. While you document it, while you experience it, they engage in more of it. That's relevant to psychological torture. The entity tried to apply that to a federal prosecution, to documentation of evidence of them targeting me. That doesn't work. When you're engaging in targeting and you engage in more targeting, that's where you establish a body of evidence, a pattern of conduct of targeting. And the psychological torture tactics are then exposed as just that. And that's when you're going to federal prison for kidnapping as the demon-possessed co-conspirators to murder, which is the Ontario Police Department. Okay? That's what they're doing, and that is shared by corrupt actors like Alan D. WAPNER, co-conspiring my murder while commercial planes are maintained over me in a manner that is obvious. And what also any investigation that shall occur pursuant to the operations of that corrupt airport regarding what actually is taking place when you take off appropriately from the airport, as opposed to what I'm documenting miles away from the airport. All right, well, what is actually taking part, what is occurring, what is a part of taking off at the airport with regard to the disruption throughout the city. What is it going to appear as, what's it going to sound like when you're taking off from the airport, as opposed to what I'm documenting while the entity is targeting me? This is about, this is a part of that prosecution. It's not just what it is that I've proven single-handedly. There was a thorough prosecution, a thorough investigation, and it's a public one, and the entity is already proven to be targeting. Now they're engaging in what is ongoing foolish conduct. This is putting your own neck on the guillotine. Alan D. Wapner is engaging in a conspiracy to commit murder of an American citizen who has exposed him as targeting that person, myself, and he is continuously targeting. That's relevant to a plane hovering over me at what is 100 South Euclid Avenue at the intersection of Holt Boulevard and Euclid in Ontario, California. The street, the single street where the sun did not deviate in any direction west. It did not go beyond Euclid Avenue. That's what I captured where the Ontario police are stalking at Ontario Town Square. The same property where they were stalking at Ontario Town Square while the fake sun was over me at that same address at 9:24 in the morning. And by the way, the evidence also shows that I've captured the sunrise before 7 a.m. at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario police are stalking, and so is Alan D. Wapner, the entity that is stalking me by permission with knowledge of the president of the airport authority, who is a domestic terrorist leader conspiring my murder, a violent sex offender keeping my vagina under surveillance, facilitating massive surveillance by the murderers that are surrounding on the roads and the highways, gang stalking by residents, gang stalking by place of employment, gang stalking as a matter of public corruption, millions of people, that is, in other words, conspiring my murder, targeting together under the corrupt leadership of Gavin Newsom. Alan D. Wapner and Mike Lorenz are engaging in a statewide pattern of conduct that Gavin Newsom is responsible for. And that is directly relevant to the ongoing plane activity, which is evidence of monitoring the inhumane system of surveillance pursuant to what is ongoing stalking committed until an entity chases down and treats an American citizen like an animal and then takes their life, defaming their character in doing so. Alan D. Wapner is not only going to be facing what is removal from office. This is a prosecution, a comprehensive one of the government. And the entity's foolish conduct of engaging in more of obvious targeting is the foolish conduct that is resulting in what is an inevitable prosecution. And that will also be public information. All right? License plate 6FLL308, co-conspiring in what is the murder of an American citizen while they're gang stalking with the government in that environment. License plate 8PIV365, and this is an entity that is targeting, as I'm showing you, while I am walking on Euclid Avenue last night, and Alan D. Wapner is maintaining commercial flight over my head at the specific sidewalk on the corner while I'm documenting that last night. And the same thing this morning on the sidewalk is where these planes are targeting me and doing U-turns, flying directly over my head. And that's also shared with what is, first of all, that's no takeoff from the airport for you to be hovering over the sidewalk where I'm at. And it's also very specific with regard to the ecological address, the longitude and latitude with regard to where the fake sun is over me, and with regard to where it never left this same street, Euclid Avenue, as I documented all day long, in conformity to a pattern of conduct, because LAPD's criminal monitoring is going to put Alan D. Wapner out of office as well. It's going to put the demons of the Ontario Police Department in federal prison. It's serving to expose what Dominic Choi, Michael Moore, all right, Robert Luna of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, this ongoing criminal conspiracy to murder an American citizen whom they are criminally surveilling, engaging in a program of psychological torture, which Gavin Newsom is presiding over and has been, and so was the demon in office before him. This is the criminal system underway in California. And the entity is engaging in what is exposing its mental illness while they're still targeting, while they're witnessing the real-time exposure of it. They're witnessing it. That's P.O.C. License 7XPH656. They're all engaging in what is monitoring, acting in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder me right now. Right now, they're doing that. And that's relevant when you're prosecuting, you're standing in court. There will be no tears that are going to supersede this evidence of the lawlessness, of the passion, of the determination, and the disregard, the impunity with which this entity conspired to murder me and psychologically torture until the day they were able to take my life. That's not happening. I'm going to survive and testify in court, and all of this evidence is going to be played back, because it's not just the crime, it's the character of the crime. The entity is not just conspiring murder. Gavin Newsom's not only responsible in presiding over a system of executing American citizens as an organized system of crime in California, the entity does it with impunity and malice. The entity does it in the face of an American citizen enforcing their rights. The entity does it with a level of hostility while you have the audacity to enforce your rights. That's relevant to how many years you're getting in prison. That's relevant to how severe your mental illness is when you're put in those padded rooms. That's relevant to the criminal conviction, which is requiring a prosecution for domestic terrorism and nothing less in the U.S. It's P.O.C. It's 8:03 p.m. That's conspiring to murder. Those are the demons that are going to be prosecuted for terrorism in the U.S. License plate JESUSAK, and Jesus does not know that demon that's engaging in the demonic conduct of stalking with light and stalking with amplified noise as a sex offender, engaging in sexual violence through the practice of witchcraft, touching all over my genitalia with light that's not even the product of their headlights. This is the mens rea, this is the mindset of sex offenders that are keeping my vagina under surveillance as well. And they're doing so pursuant to what is the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is that which is occurring while the government has decided to murder someone and psychologically torture and target them until they commit that murder. Murder is the product of targeting. And this is what Gavin Newsom is presiding over. And Paul Leon is engaging in it and doing so in concert with Gavin Newsom. Every gang stalking mayor is sharing in this pattern of conduct. And this entity is currently in custody of property that belongs to me, and while they're targeting. So let me read you some more license plates of the demons that are co-conspiring murder with the corrupt government body. License plate 9ARL837. While you hear that amplified audible activity, the entity is sharing in a pattern of conduct of stalking and impossible light. You've seen the intersection of Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue over the years. Over the years, I've documented it. Over the years, you've seen the entity engage in, they remember what they engaged in when they surmised that I was going to be dead, and you were never going to look at those, you were never going to review that, you were never going to study it, you were never going to hear about it. Because some demon that is almost 65 years old thought that she was going to step into my shoes and just remove that evidence, and she was going to step in, she's the one that's exposing what is she's some sort of prophet or something. This is a psychopath. And she's engaging in the state surveillance system. And this is what Satan tried to usurp. Satan tried to steal what is the word that is coming from Christ Jesus, the word that is revealing to you what Satan is doing. Satan tried to kill a messenger of the Lord and steal the message. Do you understand what he is going to do in response? You're witnessing it in a formality. You're witnessing it in time. It's coming. I already told you how this is going to end, and you're witnessing it. And the entity is accumulating what is a very severe prosecution. The case is already complete. The case is already complete. While these public officials are targeting, while these companies are targeting, while these neighborhoods, these cities and counties are targeting, understand that this is relevant to sentencing, this is relevant to damages, this is relevant to federal policy, this is relevant to how the landscape in this country is going to change. 9SYA977, that's what this is relevant to. The case is already complete. I captured what you can never replace. Evidence in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. The entity that cannot assimilate. You can't adjust your behavior now. You saw what they were doing, what they've been doing. You know why? Conspiring my murder, theft of my money and property, doing it pursuant to what is a pattern of conduct by this government for decades. And the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while they are in real time witnessing their exposure. This is why you have the Ontario Police gang stalking at one address under a fake sun, and doing so while they're looking at the video upload and then they engage in it again. They're looking at the video upload and then they engage in it again. Just like what Alan D. Wapner is doing, maintaining planes right here. There's no whistling planes that are taken off from the airport. All right. There's no sunlight that's engaging what is creating what is this impossible light activity. I was recording video, but it stopped recording, so I'm going to keep recording. You can hear the plane activity. The entity is maintaining plane activity over the MoneyGram at 100 South Euclid Avenue. That's flight over my head. Okay, this is the entity that is targeting. This is the intersection at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. Very heavily documented venue. Very, very heavily documented. They're all monitoring 9KWJ392. License plate 8PW. I can't really see that one. Amtrak is gang stalking in a coach. 8TLS380. They are all monitoring and targeting with the government that's maintaining planes, commercial planes, over the 150 East Holt Boulevard, San Bernardino County Public Health Clinics, and also flying over me where I'm located, which is how you know that they're all stalking together. Where the government is stalking, the people of the state are stalking as well. 8MBA512, that's what the evidence shows. That's the pattern of conduct. Where the people of the state are stalking with impossible light under a fake sun, that's where the government is targeting. That's why I'm able to document them, and then the entity is engaging what is sharing in that pattern of conduct by helicopter, which is never going to stop the evidence. It's ongoing corroborating evidence, and that's how you have the P.O.C. License plate, because the entity engaged in this foolish pattern on video and podcast for years. License 78MAB74, I believe. License 9KPN721. And they're all engaging in this while they are witnessing their real-time exposure. This is Satan that is being exposed. Understand that Satan is going by the name of Alan D. Wapner, president of Airport Authority. Satan is going by the name of Mike LORENZ, police chief. Satan is going by the name of Michael GERKEN, fire chief. Satan is going by the name of what is corrupt businesses like Starbucks Corporation, where he is using the people, he is using that company as a means of engaging what is a satanic means of targeting someone, trying to sacrifice them, using corrupt business practices, corrupt government. License 6PBV452, Satan is using that person. That person is representing an entity of people who are demon possessed. That's why they're all engaged in the same conduct, which is supernatural, stalking me with light, driving on the street outside of the building, and then tornadoes of light occurring on the inside of Starbucks. Those are demons. Okay? Those are demons. And the corrupt practices of the government that is chasing me down in helicopters up and down the street, that type of maniacal and unhinged behavior, those are demons. Those are demons. Okay? The entities engaging in this, and this is relevant to the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is speaking to what is exposing demon possession, which clearly it is the Lord's will for you to be aware of that. It is my purpose to prosecute, and I am prosecuting what is also evidence that just so happens to be satanic. And that satanic character of the evidence is relevant to mental illness, how the behavioral health issues of the entity present a threat to themselves and to the public, and they're going to be diagnosed and convicted. That's how that evidence is going to work, as opposed to the tragic injustice of this targeting system, where those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct are projecting their mental illness onto targeted individuals, where, by the way, it is absolutely legally irrelevant in any case against the government. Like I stated before, the targeted individual could have Down syndrome. They could have Down syndrome. Do you understand that the president of the airport authority targeting with commercial planes in the specific environment, then not only are they targeting through what they're doing with the airport, an ordinary investigation will show that you are under no circumstances hovering over 100 South Euclid Avenue when you're taking off from 2500 Airport Drive and 2900 Airport Drive. Evidence of targeting. You're also targeting beyond any scientific doubt. The entity is keeping a fake sun where you are engaging in that clear targeting, and you're doing so pursuant to what is evidence, meaning the timing that they engage in that conduct is also relevant to what I'm documenting. This is all on the record. You're engaging in what is that pattern of conduct as a government actor. Not a president of an airport authority. You're a domestic terrorist. The United States likes to put polish on what is barbaric, what is satanic, what is perverted. And that is also this Satan that likes to present itself as an angel of light. Okay? This is entirely demonic, and that is why it's manifesting as criminal conduct, which is, again, no longer secretly underway at all. It's not a secret at all. The entities engaging in this, and that's relevant to the diagnosis of mental illness in this corrupt country, in this corrupt city, in this corrupt state. The entity is using propaganda to kidnap and criminally defame American citizens. Criminal defamation shall be recognized under federal law, especially where the entity is engaging in surveillance, pursuant to the system of surveillance, which is also unlawful. The entity is targeting American citizens in order to essentially break up their whole life by defamation. And it's defamation that's in conformity to a pattern of conduct, which is criminal. Hence criminal defamation, which is beyond mere pecuniary harm. Yes, it does obviously cause substantial pecuniary harm, but the entity is engaging in what is criminal defamation and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. It's a criminal act by the government. Okay? And the government is speaking through that entity. So there's no privacy. There's no private citizen either. Every business, every person, every actor is speaking as the state, because the government's engaged in criminal surveillance. And that's how you're going to prosecute it. License plate 8XBF441, 9AWT388. These are co-conspirators to murder. And this is the state. This is the state that's surrounding you in traffic. That's the state that's surrounding you at Starbucks. That's the state that's employed by Starbucks. Starbucks itself is a third party, not a private company. All right, they're engaging in surveillance that the government has no warrant or probable cause to engage in. That level of malice, all of that is targeted toward an innocent, unsuspecting, and unprepared American citizen who was murdered by the government and defamed in doing so. You're told on the news that they killed themselves. You're told on the news that they overdosed, that they were just some irresponsible homeless person that couldn't take care of themselves, and they died in a corner and nobody came to their rescue. All right? They were problematic the whole time. They were killed by law enforcement because they were threatening somebody. They were being gang stalked. They were murdered by the government. And that demon, that bum that holds a gun to their head and kills them, that's the government. That's a state actor. It's not a private citizen. It's not a random crime. It's happening in the specific environment. You are able to prosecute criminal activity based on where the fake sun is over me, and a murder of a rapper in Missouri is happening, and you are able to know that it was occurring in the specific environment by an entity. That police department in that city is not ignorant about what happened to that rapper. He was sacrificed. Okay? He or she was sacrificed by this entity. This is what's going on in the country. They were killed under the fake sun. They're demons. They commit murder as an entity. They sacrifice people. And then these psychopaths reported on the news as though nothing is going to do. That's wicked behavior. That's mental illness. That's a psychopath. And that is filling the population. And unfortunately, the propaganda has been going on for so long, you have a population of psychopaths. They practice pedophilia as an entity. They practice sexual violence. And then you have the illusion of the criminal justice system that's putting all the perverts away, that's putting all the criminals away. And if you pass a background check, a credit check, then you're good. You're safe. That's the illusion that you're not a threat. I'm documenting a population of sex offenders keeping my vagina under surveillance in the library. Okay? They're conspiring my murder by gang stalking by arriving at work at Starbucks. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. It is currently 8:13 p.m. and Gavin Newsom is responsible for what's going on in the state of California, including the city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. License plate 6TJM533. I want to be clear, the entity that is monitoring on the video of the internet, this is relevant to what the Ontario Police Department are doing on video, gang stalking by helicopter, and then they're going on the internet and rendering my published podcast as private. That's relevant to the entity that is gang stalking as a corrupt law enforcement agency and furtherance of murdering me, and then trying to render my documentation as private. All of this is why I document that, because you're going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison and you're not getting out. 8MDU459, 9TGG892, 9LVU846. That's an unlawful threat, and you are necessarily putting the evidence of a government targeting you, trying to murder you in secret while you're living in a bubble. That's what the specific environment shows and proves, while the population is perpetually stalking and keeping you under surveillance. And they're doing so because they're trying to take your life, and they're also doing so trying to psychologically torture you into mental illness. The entity is doing this to the ordinary targeted individual, while their mental illness is why they're engaging in it in the first place. Their perversion is why they're engaging in it in the first place. Their appetite for murder is why they're engaging in it in the first place. Okay? The entity is engaging in this conduct while they are trying to keep the evidence concealed from the public. That's a psychopath. And while they're doing that, do not forget, because this is why I document it. Because on contrary to what these demons do, they forget about it. They forget. This is why these demons get up every day and do the same thing. They are literally insane. They get up and do the same thing when circumstances and facts show them that you should have stopped that a long time ago. Because this is not the same circumstance. This is not the same ball game. But they are, again, mentally ill. They are actually mentally ill. As you analyze what they do, what they know as they continue doing what they're doing, this is literally for study, as well as a prosecution that you're going to witness, and it's the prosecution of Satan himself. All right? The entity is engaging in this conduct, and while you are removing evidence off the internet, YouTube, while you're engaging in what is removing evidence and exercising control over it pursuant to Title 18 federal stalking, it's attributed to what is an unlawful threat to the life of an American citizen. That's what I'm advocating on, and that's relevant. When you sit in court and you're sitting up in you're sitting up in court and you're sitting up pleading, talking about, I'm not corrupt, I love the Constitution, I love the U.S., I would never monitor an American citizen. They're going to run the tape back of the fake sun over me while you were psychologically torturing me. They're going to run, understanding the significance of all of that, understanding the pattern of conduct, and you're going to federal prison while you were wearing a uniform representing any law enforcement agency. You're going to federal prison, and it's also relevant while you then sought to remove that evidence and conceal it. You're going to federal prison while the people of the state continuously targeted in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency. You're going to federal prison. All of that evidence is relevant to it. And so is Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. All right? It is currently 8:16 p.m. This is the entity that is gang stalking with a psychopath at the intersection. This is mental illness while they're stalking with light at T-Mobile at 101 North Euclid Avenue. It is currently 8:16 p.m. The entity is engaging in surveillance by a demon, gang stalking at the bus stop. They're not waiting for the bus. You're not waiting for the bus in the engineered environment. This is all manner of surveillance, and this is also what this traffic is. The ongoing, and you're not going to forget that when it comes time to mete out justice, when it comes time to assign those damages, when it comes time to assign the charges, when it comes time to assign how many years you're going away, this is the evidence that you're relying on. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I am showing you, what is directly relevant, because this is the motivation. This is what they do to people when you don't know anything about it. They love it. This is the wicked, okay? And they do it, and then what they present to the public is a shiny. Look at what Gavin Newsom presents to you. He's a raging psychopath who is engaged in targeting American citizens. He is a corrupt demon. He is entirely corrupt. This level of engagement in targeting someone, all of the law enforcement agencies, all of the companies, there's no exception. There is absolutely no exception. The governor is not ignorant, nor shall the government be treated as ignorant, whether that demon wants to admit it or not. You're going to be subject to what is public exposure for what's happening on your watch. And by the way, he's a demon. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows why I'm uttering his name right now. He's a demon, okay? This is an entity that's engaging in that POC. It's 8:18 p.m. License plate 6FIG866. Stalking at 123 West Holt Boulevard with light activity, that's mental illness. 7BSM 909. The mentally ill are able to act out their aggression, they're able to act out their violence, and they're doing so as with regard to government, the government system. Remember what is going on with regard to, and it's unfortunate, but they make these movies based on what the entity is actually doing. 7BSM 909, I believe, the movie Purge, where they get what is the amount of time to kill each other and face no consequences. The government's engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring, and the people of the state get to act out their pedophilia impulses. They get to act out their violence against each other. They get to act out their impulses, their desires, their dark desires, which are of the devil. And the government that's engaging in this targeting system is facilitating that. And this is how they come up with movies like The Purge. These people are not creative. These are demons that engage in making films and movies about what the state of California is doing, what the United States actually does. That's relevant. The Truman Show, that's relevant to what the state of California is actually doing. What did they do with the Truman Show? They made him a white male as opposed to a black woman. Okay? The entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and when you're looking at that evidence regarding monitoring a white male, you're not thinking about the sexual violence inherent to targeting a woman of any race, a woman, okay? Even though you should with the male because he's being sexually violated as well, but you're less inclined to think about that when you're looking at a white male being targeted in the way that Jim Carrey is in The Truman Show. But that pattern of conduct, that's exactly where they come up with these ideas. It's not fiction. It's not fiction. It's based on what the United States government is engaging in. That's where they come up with these movies. Okay? I just want to be clear. The entity is engaging in a POC, and it is in furtherance of committing murder, and it is pursuant to surveillance that's been underway in this country for a very long time. And there are people that are murdered, and then we're told that they're assassinated. We're told that they had an accident. You're talking about plane crashes and helicopter crashes. You're talking about shootings of artists, people who are in the limelight, and also children that go disappearing. They have sex with these children, they violate them, and then they murder them. It's a sacrifice. And it is reported on the news, and I want to be clear, every single last one that's happening in California, the state of California is engaging in what is sacrificing people. They sacrifice children. They sacrifice them by having sex with them. They sacrifice them by murdering them. Okay? All the missing children, all of the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct is engaging in that criminal system. Omnitrans is letting me know that they're coming. It's funny if you hear that. It's audible activity. Anyway, it's currently 8:21 p.m. This is POC.